that time again.
That's right. A new week. A new era. And oh boy, we got some work to do, man. We got all sorts of ideas to conceptualize, things to prioritize. And I gotta make some villains, honestly. I've been focusing way too much on the player's experience of how to like interact with the world as a hero. I have not been thinking about the villains, man. And I think today we gotta fix that. I thought, what do I want to do this week? I want to build the adventure. That's what I want to do. What do I gotta do this week? Well, that's a different story. I've got to make a convincing villain. Because right now, what are you fighting in the world? You get in there and you just like, oh, there's some boars. Oh, it's a bird. It's an angry bird. No, we need our ghost church. We need the Alabaster Consortium. But you know, I'm trying to figure out their vibe. Is it better to sort of have the idea of the church be more like demonic, like secretly demonic? That's like a pretty classical trope. Or do we want to have it be like kind of spooky necromantic? I feel like those are different vibes, you know, a little bit eldritch demons. Eldritch demons? No, one or the other, man. We got to go with one or the other. So, I don't know, man. I've been thinking about a lot of what to do today. I think it's gonna be fun though. This week's gonna be pretty dope baller. I might have to miss Friday because I got stuff to do, man. I got shit to do on the weekend that I gotta prepare for. So we might not have a Friday stream, but I think honestly, I think this week is the return of D&D for me pretty soon here. I think it's time. I think I have to restart a game. I'm gonna see if Dashno and Ella want to play this week. Because I gotta test the Astral Sage and the Astral Knight, and I wanna build it with them. And I want one of them play an Astral Sage, and I want one of them to play an Astral Knight. I don't know who's gonna play what, but I'm gonna test it out with them. I'm gonna throw them in a lot of combat. It's gonna be like you ever play a D&D game and your DM's just like hungry for combat, and you kind of realize, you know, you're just chilling, and you're like on the path, and you're like, oh, what's around the bend? Well, it's bandits, and you're like, oh, that's fair, that's fine, great, all right, you guys find a waterfall that you can rest at for the night. You can make camp, but there's 2 wolves there you have to scare away, and they look hungry and rabid. They look sick. Time to kill some wolves. Okay, I'll do that. Night shift, night watch. What happens? That's right, wolves. Wolves in the night, maybe a bear. And you're like, okay, you just want to throw combat at us all day. That's what I'm going to do for them, you know? Good morning, guys. Good to see you. Maybe those rituals use the living to begin with. What, for the golems? Golems were creatures made out of clay given life via rituals. Dolls also creepy overall. That's true. Maybe if we did some sort of like small golemette creature that we could hide souls in, that could work. Depends on what they want and what do they and why do they want it. The Alabaster Consortium wants sky shards and souls. They want souls and sky shards. And the problem is, Sienna, if I tell you why they want the souls, that ruins the surprise. So it's one of those things that we have to proceed with caution when world building, because the why ultimately is supposed to be a payoff for the story. So, but all we know is they kind of want souls. We don't know why, you know? I'm being a car for the next 8 hours, keep me entertained. All right, we'll try our best, Steel. Hi, how you doing? Good to see you, bro. Are you heading home to see family or something? I don't know. That's 8 hours. That's a long ass time. Are you making the Orzhov but not Orzhov due to copyright infringement? No, not everything that sounds like something is a reference or a ripoff of something else. No, you can do multiple spooky ghost churches and it's not just an Orzhov ripoff. No, unfortunately not. Similar in vibe though. Definitely the whole like dark cathedral type vibe. So yeah, we're gonna be inspired by Orzhov probably as far as the art goes. But why are the wolves sick and hungry? Why are the wolves sick and hungry? No one gives a fuck why the wolves are sick and hungry. The wolves are just they're there for that. They're there for fighting. They're there for rip people to shreds. They're there for your party to make themselves feel really good when they you know, when they blast that fireball. I know you're a fireball enjoyer, Sienna. So what's up, Drake? What's going on, bro? As long as they're a Y, I'm happy I'm happy they peppy. Yeah, I agree. I'm happy they're happy as well. No, there's the problem with, I think, with a lot of world building on stream is that sometimes people ask, in some ways, too many questions. You know, they demand too many answers, I think, sometimes, because I feel like people just want to know the answer to things. But there's a ton of, if you look at really good stories, there's a ton of questions that aren't given answers to immediately, and some questions better left unanswered. Like, you know, one thing that I've just decided for the Eldari language, for instance, a lot of discussion over how to format it, how to make a language out of it, how to speak it, how to do whatever for the Ancient Eldari language. But it doesn't quite fit, right? Because the Eldari language are those like circular runes that I design, and I think that I've come to the conclusion that I want, well, I'd come to the conclusion before that I want the Eldari language to be something very very mysterious and difficult to understand. It is a language. They are glyphs. They're hieroglyphs. They are almost like a coding language. They are mathematics. The Eldari runes are very, very complicated. And there are a lot of suggestions, great suggestions, about how to format the language. And I thought about a lot of this similar things. I think a lot of people come to the same conclusion that I came to, of like different holes or breaks in the runes and different, you know, sort of pokey bits coming out of the runes would mean different things and be different like letters or syllables or whatever. But ultimately, the way I kind of want to handle it, and I realized, is I don't want it to be a understandable language. I want it to be something so ancient and vastly beyond mortal understanding, as far as modern mortal understanding. They don't know how it's spoken. They don't even know how, like, it's organized, the syntax, you see runes together and you have no fucking clue, you know, how it works. You know, it is a language, you know, it can be spoken as far as like how the ancient texts would regard it, but it is lost information. It's lost language, and it's not supposed to be something that you can just understand quickly. And if you can understand it IRL, there's probably an in-game reason why you should be able to understand it as well. And I kind of want to remove that. I want to once again have a certain level of mystique to it, you know. So we're gonna probably do that. We're probably gonna remove any concept of being able to speak Ancient Eldari as like a language that you can write in. There'll be certain, I want it to be kind of like primitive. Like, you know, when you're learning a language for the first time, I don't know how many people have learned a second language, especially a language that is not with the certain, I mean, I don't know what the proper word is for these are. I need to talk to Fishy about this. But, you know, language that has different characters than yours, you know, like English and French, there's like a pretty similar, you know, you could figure it out, right? English and Italian, German and whatever else, there's like, they use a lot of similar letters. But when you're going from like English to Japanese or like an Arab, like Arabic or whatever, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. It's like you're reading a mystery. But what you can do is you can just sort of like brute force certain things, right? Like a lot of people know the Japanese character for fire. They know the Japanese kanji for, you know, big or small, especially if you've been in bathrooms and you look at the flushing, you know. Or if you know the characters for like mountain, like very famous Japanese characters. I kind of want the modern understanding of mortal researchers and scholars who understand Eldari to be that primitive, that basic. Like you can write Fiery Mountain, you know when Fiery Mountain is there because you know the character for Fire and Mountain. But you also don't understand, you understand that there's there's a story in there and a meaning, and you're like, I don't understand the story or the meaning. Because there's just like two characters and they look very, very kind of different, and it's like what part of the runes are broken, what part of them are intentionally spaced. It's a whole complicated thing that people haven't really figured out. So I want it to be definitely a lost language that doesn't have really any sort of basis of understanding, you know. And that's kind of frustrating for some people, because some people demand for you to have like, oh, I need to know how to speak this language. What do I play? What if I want to write in Eldari? What if I want to run this game for my players and I want to have something in ancient Eldari, but I want them to figure it out, man? That's tough, bro. You know, I think you just need to sort of admit that's tough. You just can't write in Eldari. You don't know how to do it. You as a DM, you can allude to, like, you can hand wave at it and be like, oh, it says something amazing, but you can't read it. Why? Because you're stupid. But that's okay. I still love you. You know, drove 7 hours after I got off work last night, heading to Illinois for my second puppy. Oh shit, that's a long ass drive, bro. Send me pictures when you've collected the pup steal, when you've abducted the dog and stolen it from its mother. You bastard. No, I make those jokes to the unit all the time. I tell her that she's adopted, her mother didn't want her, and we stole her. And then she licks my ankle. It's like our game, you know. I'm emotionally abusive to her. She doesn't know. It's cute. It's adorable. I can't wait to have kids. But what if I can heal the wolves? Maybe there's a sewer sickness in the city because they drank contaminated water. No, when your DM wants you to fight the wolves, you're gonna fight the wolves, Sienna. You know, you can try. Maybe you're a druid. I don't know. Happy the Peppy is a Dutchy thing. Oh, is it? I thought you just misspelled, or sorry, not just mistyped happy. I'm happy they're happy, or whatever. That's what I thought you were saying. Who knew that the Happy the Peppy was some Dutch thing that I didn't know about? That's cool. Japanese is hard, Thork. Japanese is difficult, but it's easier for us to learn Japanese than it is for Japanese people to learn English. From what the conclusions I've come to in speaking with many Japanese friends and many people who can speak both languages very well. So we gotta have some sympathy for them. Even English to Russian can be difficult. Yeah, any of the Cyrillic languages, like, you know, the fucking, I think it was described in Transformers as all the buttons you don't push on your calculator. That's hard, man. Like, I don't speak. That's why I say when somebody comes in here, occasionally someone will drop like some Russian or Ukrainian or whatever in the chat as like a, I don't know why. I don't know if like, I don't know what the understanding is. It's like you walk into a chat, everyone's speaking English, the streamer's speaking English, all the chat's in English, and you decide to just drop another language in there. I have to delete it because I don't know what you're saying. It could be some heinous thing, right? But people do it occasionally, and I just always say, sorry, man, I don't speak calculator. Most people don't know what I'm talking about, but why is there a volcano there? Reason one, because plate tectonics and pressure at underground geothermal. Reason two, because Dragon put it there. Exactly. Sometimes, Ashy, in world building, good world building requires you just to say it is because it is, and don't worry about it. You know, which is a resource you have to spend sparingly, because you can't do that for everything, or else it's like not believable. I wonder, will a character boosted today be able to do Mythic Plus? Might be gear upgraded. So you depends on the boost. If you are using apparently the boost, Thorkin, that comes from the World War Within comes with actually decent gear and like renown 20 in every renown or whatever. Like it's secretly a sleeper boost that people are like, wait, why aren't more people talking about this? I don't know what the item level is. I think it's 415 or something like that. But I don't know what kind of gear. Obviously there's no tier set in there. And obviously be behind on crafted gear. You could probably, it's certain classes would be okay. Certain classes that rely on their like tier set would not be okay, because like for instance Ella's Frost Decay, since she's going Obliteration, not Breath of Cindergrosa, cannot be played without the tier set. Her Beast Mastery Hunter on the other hand, you know, she just rolls her face against 3 buttons and it does top DPS. So it depends on the class or whatever, you know. Oh wait, let me catch up. Sorry. The monsters, how do you feel about some of them? Can impart wisdom, damage, and make the characters depressed or feel lonely? I love that idea. That's fucking, bring that up. We're talking about the monsters. Remind me about that, because I love that idea. I love the idea of dealing different types of damage or wounding players in different ways. Well, she's the last of her litter. The last rest of her siblings got adopted months ago. Oh shit! All right. Well, there you go. Go capture a dog. Just free dog get. Probably not free, but poor dog was trying her best, Evan. Yeah, she's doing her best, but still, I'm gonna be emotionally abusive, and she'll never know. So people get so mad at me when I say that. I'm like, you know, you're adopted. They're like, don't say that. I'm like, why? They're like, because it's rude. I'm like, dude, what do you mean? She's a dog. She doesn't know what the fuck I'm saying. Bonjour, Monsieur. Comment tal vos. Thorkin, delete it. Delete that. I don't know if that's French or Italian, but delete that fucking foreign language trash from my stream. We speak American in here, even though I'm Canadian. Alliance right for Classic Plus. Yes, we're gonna be doing Alliance, Classic Plus. I don't know anything about the servers yet. I don't know anything about whatever is going. Not that one, damn. Oh, thank you, Thorkit. I didn't think you were actually gonna do that. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna do Alliance for Classic Plus. It's gonna be Pog. I don't know what servers or whatever because they haven't released anything about servers or name reservations or whatever. It's just on Thursday. They're just opening it up and it's just there you go. So we'll see what we're doing. If you're DMing a game and players don't like the plot twist, would you consider retconning the plot twist? I don't know. I think that it's good to listen to your players, Ultima. Sometimes I think as a DM, your players are in some ways always right in the same sense that the customer is always right in business. Where if your players are happy, great. That's all you need to worry about. But at the same time, sometimes players are dumb. Sometimes players are exceedingly dumb and don't understand what you're trying to go for. And so you have to sort of like have a little bit of confidence in yourself where you are the only person that knows the true like sort of like end goal for your plot, right? And only you can be in control of that. Like it's like the plot of a D&D game is not by committee. The players have and should not, in my opinion, and I think in many successful DMs' opinions, have any control over the plot. It is all you. The players interact with the plot. The players will determine certain parts of the plot, and they will also direct their stories. But the plot is something that you and you alone, as the DM, have to have confidence in, and you have to have a certain level of confidence that if the players don't like it, you just have to, like, you know, you're like, all right, well, you know, be patient, like, don't worry, why don't you guys go to the next temple and see what happens, right? But also, like, most players have to have respect for the GM, and generally if they don't like a plot twist or something that happens in the plot, generally the players have to have a certain sense of respect of, like, that's a little weird, but, you know, I'm gonna see what the DM's going for this, because, like, clearly they have a plan. And I think that requires respect on both ends. And so if your players have a problem with a plot twist and you're a GMing, I think there's a bunch of different problems that could, yeah, maybe you got it wrong. Maybe you're writing a dumb story here, and you need to, like, sort of retcon something. Be like, hey guys, this is a mistake. It just didn't work out. I thought of it on a whim. It's let's just pretend that didn't happen. You guys got to the temple, and instead of the fucking, you know, siren whatever queen being this, like, hot anime babe, instead it was an evil thing. You guys killed her. She didn't send you on that quest, okay? And your players have to be able to say, like, oh, okay, cool, man, like, sure, because DMs make mistakes. We're not professional writers. We don't have, like, the editors and everything, the full suite of all that stuff, you know, available to us. So we're gonna make mistakes once in a while, and occasionally you do have to be able to say that to your players and understand that you made a poor decision or made a mistake or whatever. I've done that a lot with things. There's certain things that I've had in D&D games. They aren't part of the canon because I realized that was a dumb decision at the time, you know? And I try and work around it, and my best way of dealing with it is just kind of ignoring it and then just, like, going in the direction that I want to. Most players are okay with that. But also your players could be fucking stupid. And then you just have to have a little bit of level of confidence and arrogance in your own storytelling. You just tell your story. So I don't know, it's really hard it's really situational for that kind of thing. You know? What's up, Steve? Yis a yimfrat du kai bag drek mikrak. I absolutely, Ashy, any day, anytime you want, just send me a DM. I may be bringing 5 newbies along for Classic Plus. Hell yeah, bro, bring them along. I think Classic Plus is a great time for people to get into the game. As it is in theater, the director is always right. Yeah, I think that often, like you can You can be wrong, but I think that confidence that you're right outweighs the benefits of that, outweigh the potential. Like, if you're never willing to make a mistake and you're directing the story, then that lack of confidence will cause more problems than when you are actually, like, wrong about something, you know? So, but I mean, whatever, man. If you listen to your players, I guess, talk to your players, but also don't trust your players entirely. They might be fucking stupid. So I don't understand my Albed. Yeah, the only Albed I know is when Riku says Fridi Nanig Deregek, which I know is a offensive slur of some variety for non-Albedians or something like that. But besides that, I don't know how to speak much Albed. I'm sorry. My eyes are too non-green for that. I got them in hardcore first? Oh, shit. All right. I appreciate that. Hardcore first WoW experience. Actual Giga Shads. If you can't create a story and environment that has a production value as the big names, Critical Role, Trevor Duvall, etc., you're a bad DM. This is a thought some players have because they want the same story they get from professional entertainers. Yeah, and I want the same story I get from professional entertainers as well. And I would fucking love, and that's a problem, is the expectation of, like, you know, of wanting more from your DM or your players than they can sort of give. I think is a level of disappointment that you have only scratched the surface of in a lot of cases. Because realistically, if, like, players who expect their DM to be like Matt Mercer are not like Travis Willingham, and DMs who expect their players to be like Travis Willingham are not like Matt Mercer for the most part. Very rarely does that happen, and they usually find and match other players. Remember, a good player and a good DM will bring up the best in the others, and ultimately, I think that responsibility falls on the DM's shoulders, or you could say, or your shoulders. Because you can't control another player, but you can try and guide them, you can try and lead them, you can try and help your DM improve, you can try and help your players improve, and taking some responsibility for it, for like personal responsibility, as opposed to just blaming other players at your table for like, oh, this person isn't a good RP, or that our DM doesn't just tell us good stories or whatever. I think you can have a lot of impact over, like, you could be a leader at your table and you don't have to be the GM, but I think the GM automatically has some authority and a very easy slide into a leadership role. So, you know, I think being able to read the room and what drama to execute on and what to not is important. Sometimes the moment you can see an NPC that you planned as a traitor might be better for the narrative and the drama if they instead just let the party have a trusted ally. Absolutely. I don't ever have massive plans like set in stone for that kind of stuff, Ashy. I read the players all the time, and I like, stories will, you know, like, here, actually, that's a great example. Trader becoming a trusted ally. So one of the players' favorite NPCs that they actually asked to travel with them last game was Rosa Breyer, and Rosa was supposed to betray them. She was supposed to betray them and try and kill them, but the players fell in love with her in a way that I thought was more productive for Rosa to be an ally, you know, because it's like, ooh, they really love this NPC. Well, then it makes the betrayal all the more gruesome and delicious. And yeah, you're right, but the kind of way that they sort of like fell in love with her as an NPC, I felt was better and more beneficial if she was then a trusted companion, and that's what she became. And the party had, I think, a much better story with her because of that, you know. Now, the easiest way to fix a plot mistake is correct the direction of the plot and fix the mistake through news by NPCs. That's an interesting way to do it. Yeah, I mean, like, there's lots of ways. I just kind of, like I said, I'll just kind of like ignore it or end a story early or whatever to try and meander away from whatever plot mistakes that I had or things that I didn't want to include. Like, for instance, what did I do this with? I can't think of any examples right now, but I've had things where, like, things have happened in Eldara that I like for stories in Eldara and games in Eldara that aren't canon, because I'm like, that was dumb. I don't want to include that in my game world forever, you know. Oh, like, here's the extra dimensional space does not exist in Eldara, and I had extra dimensional space in an entire mage tower that was bigger on the inside than it was on the outside, and I sort of retconned that to being a portal, if that makes sense, to like a different physical location than an extra dimensional space. I think extra dimensional space kind of ruins a lot about fantasy. I don't really like it, and I decided to remove that entirely. So that's an example, right? And I just don't talk with the mage tower anymore. Players visit Briar Pass, they don't go to the mage tower, and if they ever did, it'd be a different experience. So, you know. By the way, since stopping with my ADHD pills, my energy levels are stabilizing. I've been doing things more again. Congratulations, Sienna. That's awesome. I don't know. I never want to advocate for or against medication, but I think a lot of people that I've known with ADHD have gone through phases or cycles where sometimes their meds help them and sometimes their meds are not good for them, and it's really hard to know, right? You know, for instance, I just stopped a medication today that I tried for the last week, that for something unrelated, that it made me feel way more tired than I wanted, and it wasn't worth it, you know? And it's like, you always have to know. So I'm glad you're finding some energy. Congratulations. That's awesome. This is why you discuss the genre and setting the story with your players before you start having a gentleman's agreement. If both parties are good, players will eventually figure out the plot twist of the character and in character prepare their response. Yeah, I don't know. I don't love over discussing. Like I think that's probably good to have as a discussion before Ultima, but I also don't like discussing the game too much. I'm not a fan of session zeros. I think they're unproductive and ultimately kind of pointless and a little bit petulant. I think that realistically a good GM and good players can sort of like nod out the agreements of what they're going for in the game very quickly. I don't think you need a whole performative session zero where you're like, and now we're going to discuss how to have fun. We are going to discuss the type of game we all want, the type of fantasy we all want, and safe words for things that make us uncomfortable. I prefer to avoid all that, but I do think that it is good to give your players like a quick sentence or whatever about like, hey, so this is kind of a dark story, a dark world, and you know, life is cheap here, so your characters are going to have a hard time surviving to the end of the story, but if they do, it'll be a well-earned victory. It's going to be a story that is very sort of haunting and kind of really pushes dark fantasy as a genre. So yeah, hope you guys make some characters that can fit into that world, and we'll see what you got next week. That's it. That's session 0 for me. That's the entirety of session 0. Right there. Right there. Now, you can expand it if your players are like, oh, I want to play a character that fits into the world. Hey, are there any cool organizations I can be a part of? I want to be a paladin. Or is there cool churches that I can be a paladin of? Okay, great. And then you can expand off that. But a lot of the point of session 0s, like people talk about on the internet, is like, it's this big dramatic thing where you have to have this whole fucking conversation about it. And I think that session 0 can be productive if you're talking about how to fit the story together. But the performative sort of aspect of it is really awkward to me. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I can't think of a good example that I want to use on Twitch for it. But yeah, I just don't like session 0s, nor have I ever needed one, nor have I ever wished that I had one. So I think session 0s make more sense when the players don't know each other in advance, like building a raid group from scratch versus recruiting your friends and just saying we're a hardcore group, or we're just vibing and friends and hopping, or hoping maybe we're clear. Yeah, I think that even then, Ash, like I agree with you, Ashley, but I think even then you can sort of define expectations. If you're good at communication, you're clear enough, you can define all the expectations you need and set all the boundaries you need as the GM, as the game's host, as the game's leader and master, the game master, the dungeon master. You can set all those expectations with a sentence or two at the beginning. Right? Hey guys, we're doing a high fantasy adventure, and I want to be very narrative focused for your stories. I want to build a world that your story and your character can flourish, and I will make sure that it works for you. So tell me a great story, and the world will just magically bend to fit whatever stories you want, and we'll just do our best to try and fit it all together. So, you know, whatever. There you go. Now you're playing Critical Role. You know? Hey guys, this is going to be a much more encounter-focused, combat-focused, old-school style of dungeon crawling and delving. Your character's name and history is less important than you think it is, and you know what matters is their ability to prove themselves in the battlefield. Great, now you're playing an old-school dungeon crawl, and everybody knows. You know, but I don't know. I feel like session 0s also suffer from the D&D influencer problem, where I think that a lot of D&D content, and actually tell me if you guys disagree with this, like legitimately, I'm very curious about this. I think a lot of D&D content on the internet is kind of useless, you know, and that's not throwing shade at any specific content creator, but a lot of D&D content is like over discussing things that don't have to be complicated. And then the problem is everyone who watches it thinks that this whole thing needs to be more complicated than it actually is. You know, like session 0s, for example, there's this like, you'll find like infinite guides for how to conduct just a good session 0 and why session 0 is important. And if you're not doing a session 0, you're not doing it right. you know, salacious ways for people to get clicks and generate content that gets people interested or mad or whatever. And it overcomplicates things in a lot of ways. A lot of D&D content, I think, it has the problem of doing that. And I think that Session Zero is one of the most one of the strongest examples of that happening, of D&D being overcomplicated. That's one of the reasons why I just don't like it, because I don't hate the idea of Session Zero in concept. I dislike the idea of the Session Zero and sort of the accepted terminology of Session Zero. So I would use different terminology for planning your game ahead of time. I wouldn't say Session Zero, I'd call it something different, because I think that once you call it a Session Zero, you are acknowledging that it is sort of the dramatic event that the community at large thinks it is, as opposed to just your pre-game discussion. So I like pre-game discussions. I dislike Session Zeros. You know, that's where I'm trying to sort of get at. But new players are good at communicating and setting boundaries. Yeah, hot take, actually. You want to hear my take about D&D that'll get me canceled? I'll drop it. All right. This is my cancelable take. D&D is a great place to build social skills. Yes, but D&D is a game that requires social skills to play. Yep, I said it. Communication is important to the success of your D&D game. And there's a meme about players and DMs and D&D players not being social outcasts and people who have difficulty communicating and whatever, and they learn through D&D how to do all those things. Absolutely. But I think there is a bar you need to jump over first before you can play D&D. You know, I think there's a basic bar of like being able to talk to other people and being able to like interact with humans and shit like that you need to be able to sort of accomplish before you can play D&D. Now, obviously, you can do whatever you want. I'm not saying that there's like any rules and trying to gatekeep and stuff. I'm just saying if you want to have a good time, I think, you know, you need to be able to do those things. But I also think D&D is a great place to build those skills too. So, I know I sure did. I'm like guessing here, but the details are there for the 1% of people who actually need it. Maybe. There's a lot of details though for a small problem of 1%, I think. I think it's intentionally useless by fault of the viewers, not by the creators. You vote with your clicks. Yeah, I think it's both. I think I know what you're saying, and I agree. But I think that it is also like, what can I talk about and make a TikTok about for like make a 2-minute TikTok that'll get me a bunch of views. I know I'll talk about this thing that I saw this other creator talk about, and then you have this game of sort of like create like content telephone where a lot of these problems or issues or things that need to be discussed or whatever in the D&D community weren't an issue to begin with. You know, they just sort of were just like, you know, chosen as like, oh, that did well, I'm gonna make my version of it. But that's how any content works online, you know. I think I mentioned this before, but I strongly believe this because of D&D TikTok meeting the spicy TikTok as for what? Shit, I'm sorry. See, I need a bit more context in there. I think my brain just like lost a rail or something there. Yeah. What is the Session Zeros are becoming kind of a culty mantra? That's my problem with it. Exactly, Knight. It's not like it's not like a pre-game discussion. I think a pre-game discussion of the game and a Session Zero are two different things. Does that make sense? You know. There's also the too dark stop caring part where your favorite NPC is a traitor and you don't care about the game anymore. Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's why when I said that Rose was supposed to betray the party, it didn't feel right the way the party had like opened up to her and taken her on. It feels like I didn't want to spend emotional currency on dealing with her betrayal, right? I felt like there was better places to spend emotional currency because they had sort of placed it into. It's like someone in Minecraft building a house and you're like, oh, they chose to build the house on the area I was going to explode, so now I have to explode their house. It's like, maybe not. Maybe you just move the area you were going to blow up in Minecraft off their lot. They built their house on this lot, let them have their house. You know, sure, maybe they build something there and then, oh no, it gets blown up. Oh, that's crazy. But like, it doesn't quite have the same. It's like you're hoping they build like an animal farm there, not their house. And so you don't build up their house. You wait to figure out where their animal farm is to build that up. I don't know why you're blowing up cows in Minecraft, you sick fuck. But you know, you're the one doing it, not me. They are inherently bad, but saying you can't have a good game without Session Zeros are very gatekeepy. Yes, yeah, I think I agree. Knight. Probably going to have a session 0.5 because the group I'm hosting has never played, so I have to explain the basics and help discover. And that's totally fine. Yeah, that's not a session 0 in my opinion. That's just you teaching them how to play the game beforehand. Which is totally perfectly necessary, you know? Like, it becomes controversial to say it's not the DM's job to make sure your character stays with the party. It's your job as a player to make sure the character stays with the party. Yeah, I agree. And actually, that's one thing I say. So I do. You guys want to hear my opening sort of monologue, like for a new player of what I like to say to my game? So let's take the new game that I want to play with Dash and Ella. So what I will say to them, and I don't need to say this to them, but what I would say to them is, if they were like new players of mine, if I was inviting like another person into that game, like that I haven't played D&D with before, like Blaze or Ashy or someone, I'd say, hey, so this is a high adventure story. So your character should have, I think, a strong compulsion to adventure and want to go on misadventures. This is a lawful good game where generally doing the right thing is sort of the end goal for this story. And the sort of the world is dangerous, but it's not cruel. So although, yes, you can die and it is danger and there are risks involved, I'm not out to get you. I'm on your side. So make a character that you think can kind of fit into that kind of framework, and I can't wait to see what you got. If you want to talk to me about it and figure out if you want to fit into the world or whatever in any sort of way, you want to fit into existing lore, or if you want me to sort of like make up lore for this game for your character, let me know. That either looks like I want to be a noble. Okay, well, you can either be a noble of this small town that I have existing, or we can make up your own town. You know, let's have that conversation. Let me know. That's what I tell a new player. You know, that's about it. That's about it. So, Talking about Session Zeros is telling smart players how to handle dumb players, which is selling someone a solution, telling someone how they can be a better D&D player, accuse them of being a bad D&D player. Yeah, it's a challenge because you never want to. People are so concerned about being a bad D&D player, and I don't know if they should be or not. You know, I feel like people are. It's like the standard has been set by Critical Role as to whether or not you're a good or bad D&D player. It's like, how close are you to a Critical Role player, or like Critical Role DM? And I'm always an advocate for different styles of D&D. You know, that's why I always love the neckbeard, gray ponytails that you find in the game store playing second edition, because I think they're playing just as legitimate of a D&D as you are. And they have no backstory. They don't even have names on their character sheets. You know, they are Dwarf Barbarian number 3 because you lost your last 2. And that's the name of their characters. And I think that's a perfectly valid way of playing D&D. And I think that the second we stop making room for them in our community is the second we become the villain. So a lot of people do that with things like Session 0. The use of rules and safe words are similar to, can I say, the BDSM. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, the idea of a safe word in D&D is kind of offensive to me, because it's like, you think as a DM I'm going to include stuff that is that potentially gratuitous and gross and whatever else, and whatever that we need to have a safe word. Like, chill. I'm not throwing you into fucking torture or spider filled pits or whatever. Like, relax, bro. You know. So I don't know. Dungeon crawlers, yeah, they're legit, man. They're legit members of the community, and we love them for it. So it's not like I want to create a place where our D&D games can't allow for the multiple. Like, I think that there was a long time ago where people who had overly sort of like narrative games and like Critical Role style games where their characters have these big, long, dramatic backstories and plot arcs, and they spend entire days role playing. There was an idea back when I was playing D&D that if your players didn't enter combat at least once a session, you did a bad job as a DM. But now the idea of having RP days or town days or whatever is super common. We've gone weeks without combat in my D&D games before. And I was always an advocate of people playing, if they want to play a super narrative, story-driven, theatrical game where they have backstories and drama and all that stuff, that's fine. Because people would say, oh, they're not playing real D&D. They're just playing some sort of weird story game that they want to tell. Go write a novel, nerd. Go back to theater camp, loser. And I always used to advocate for those players and say, no. If people want to play D&D like that, fuck you. You let them play D&D like that, because they're welcome in our community just as much as you are. Even if you want to be a, war gamer or whatever, and they want to be a storyteller in their game, screw you. They're just as welcome in our community as you are. And I took shit for that, right? Like, even like early days of the game store, back when 4th Ed was still like a thing, right? And I will defend the other players the other way, because I don't like anybody being told they're not playing D&D correctly. you know. So it's kind of a funny thing how that flipped, how it reversed, how the community got more how one style got more popular, and now the old style that was like considered the correct way of playing D&D, that was very like you know, judgmental of the other style, is now the defensive, you know, the minority. So I always advocate for everybody, however they want to play D&D, to be the you know, to be able to fit in or whatever. So that's what I was talking about. A simple explanation of setting, and the players come up with characters and contextually engages the lore. Yeah, totally I agree. They use the safe word in situations like where the game is fighting against a drow incursion and someone gets triggered over spiders. Instead of knowing that they are fighting against drow such lol, and knowing you have a severe arachnophobia, just don't join. Yeah, but I found a lot of success in just staying away from things that are typically Monka topics like that. Like, I don't have a she-lob in my games, right? I don't have that kind of stuff. I stay away from that kind of stuff usually, and I've never had problems with players. I've never had somebody be like, "Oh, that made me uncomfortable, Evan. I didn't like that," you know. And I think that's great, you know. I think if you know your players, and I think that the more you know your players, the more you can sort of take risks with them. The less you know your players, the less you can take risks with them, and you can ultimately find success with new players or existing players. There's just certain things that, like, yeah, like I wouldn't include certain ideas or topics in a game with a bunch of new players. Just like it's like any conversation, you know. It's like any conversation. There are certain things you don't know if you can like I'm not gonna be like, I say heinous things to my friends. I will be an asshole to my friends, and it's all out of love, and we care about each other, and you know. But you don't do that with new people. It's the same sort of idea with D&D, where you don't take risks with new people. You know, you play it safe, and I think that's just the easier way to do it. And then you figure out, oh, this person's kind of metal. They like dark shit. Okay, fine. I'll include some fucking decapitated, you know, whatever, like abominations or whatever, and they're cool with that because they like zombie movies. Because I learned that about them. You just got to learn about your players and pay attention to them. You know, and then you sort of figure it out. And the problem is that's complicated and difficult. And it's like, well, yeah, it is, but you can do it. I believe in you. You know, what's your work going to be? Something Consortium related, weapons, armor, maybe a clothing design. I just want to do a quick Astral Sage piece. I've been thinking about, before we get into the dark Consortium stuff, we're going to do I want to just do a quick Astral Sage design that I can use for Ella's Astral Night, which we're probably not going to work on today, but still, I want to finish this week. But I just want to have a couple more designs at my fingertips to be able to pull from. So maybe I'm kind of thinking about the knights being slightly different designs, but I don't know if that's going to be a thing yet. So we're just going to do some concepts. Just, you know, chill, warm up, relax. Well, I've been a storyteller gamer. I'm not here to fight monsters and min-max my character. I do it narratively funny or makes sense to me, my character, my players. But I make sure that everyone knows is when being either a player or a DM. Yeah, and that's and I used to have to go to bat for players like you to be able to play the game and to not be gate kept out of our D&D community. And now I have to go to bat for the other players, the players that are like the anti-critical role, the players that don't even name their characters. You know, my pet peeve in D&D is people telling other people, like, you can have your preferences and you should have your preferences. There's certain players I won't play with, right? And that's totally within my right as a player and a GM to not want to play with certain types of people, you know. But I just dislike the idea that one way of playing the game is the superior way. I think that personal responsibility of just playing with people that agree with you is the most important thing. And there's no correct or right answer on how to play the fucking game. It's a stupid game. Like, we're sitting here taking a game seriously. Like, I always call D&D Imagination Dragon game because I want to just remind everyone of the absurdity of what we're doing. You know, some people take D&D so fucking serious it becomes their entire like personality, and I think D&D, when you take it serious, it is great. But also, don't forget you're an adult playing Imagination Dragon game. Like, just have some self-awareness and just have fun. Don't make this a bigger thing than it has to be. Just relax, enjoy your Imagination Dragon game, let everyone else enjoy their Imagination Dragon game, and just chill, bro. You know, it doesn't have to be your entire value as a human how well you play Imagination Dragon game. I don't know. Look up peacock spider and tell me that isn't cute. I'm not going to, because I don't like spiders. I'm just not going to do it. I don't like spiders, man. I don't like them. I don't want anything to do with a spider. I know there are cute spiders. I remember there was a dumb little spider that had like a name or whatever. He was like Lawrence the spider or something. And it was a cute ass little spider with big ass fucking eyes. And he's a cute little boy. But I don't like spiders. And I'm not going to look it up. Because I don't like them. 99 out of 100 times, I'm not happy when I see a spider. Or bugs of any kind. I don't like bugs. I don't like snakes. I'm fine with it. If I see one in the wild, I'm not a little, weirdo about it. I will kill the spiders in our house and kill the bugs in our house because Ella tolerates them a lot less than I do. But it's not like I'm a enjoyer. Right? I gotta swallow that like natural distaste for them. And just get it. But I ain't looking up shit, man. I ain't gonna go Googling nothing. There was already a game when I was looking to join to one of the players when they went into a huge city had to use a safe word because they were agoraphobic, IRL. Oh. Is that like fear of the outside? I think I've become agoraphobic. At least a little bit. I don't like going out anymore. It's too big outside. Not going out and not exposing myself to the outside world for long enough has I think made me less tolerant of it. I have to go do some shit on the weekend, like out. I'm not happy about it. I'm already stressed. I just want to sit at home, play World of Warcraft all weekend. Is that too much to ask for, really? That's life, I guess. I had a DM try to force 2 players to fully RP out a scene where one was hit with a love potion. They are why people like Session Zeros. Yeah, but to me that sounds like just kind of a weird champ. You know? Like, to me that's not a problem of Session Zeros, that's an issue of an awkward fucking cringy DM. Who makes your players RP out of Session Zero? To me that's one of those common sense can prevail things. You know? But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Any form of extreme makes people absolutely obnoxious to me. Yeah. Don't be radioactive in your imagination, Dragon game. Don't make any enemies, and you'll be on top of the world. Yeah, basically. There you go. You figured it out. You cracked the code. Congratulations. You can now play Imagination Dragon game professionally. That's fucking lit. No, I mean, I get why people take D&D seriously. I take it very seriously too. But I have to, like, once in a while pull myself back from it and remind myself that you know, the game itself is supposed to be fun, and there's a certain level of absurdity to it that needs to not be forgotten. Otherwise, I think it becomes uncomfortable. I'm not saying you can't have heavy games and you can't like you know, on my last session of my last game that I play, or the game I played before this last one with my players were fucking bawling at the end. They took it so seriously, man. I think that's great. They were emotionally invested, but they also were very aware they were playing a silly game, and you know. And now that you can't take silly games seriously, but like also you have to have some awareness about it, I think. Monkey Brain doesn't like too many eyes and legs, sadly. Exactly. There's lots of things Monkey Brain has evolved to dislike, and spiders are one of them. If you're a spider enjoyer, great for you. I'm pleased for you, but I ain't one. I don't enjoy slithery boys. I'm okay with wiggly boys, like with noodles. But I don't like noodles with legs, alright? I don't like any of that. I think I want the Astral Knight sigils to be inherently dark. I think that's gonna be they're gonna be a bit sharper and a bit darker. They're gonna have, oh, you know what they're gonna do? They're going to have a combination of the Astral Sage leaves and also sharper angled like triangles. That's how we're gonna define Astral Knight work. Okay, perfect. Let's do one more. The 6-pointed Mandela is important, though. That's not changing. I used to think that maybe like the 4 versus the 6 versus the 8 was like different like ranks or whatever, but no, I think I just want to go with 6s entirely. Most people should be smart enough to not need that. They're a group of people who grew up with boys will be boys and who just don't have accountability to anything. That's the thing. I just don't play with those people. I feel like you can kind of sniff those kind of people out very early, you know? And I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, I just never have had personally have had a problem with that. I just don't play D&D with people that I feel like it's gonna be a problem with. You know, one way or another. So I suppose session zeros are maybe more like here. You only make a case for session zeros. I'll make a case for it, even though I don't like session zeros. Let me make a case for it. I think session zeros, when you are playing with new players, are the way that you sniff them out. But if I'm gonna admit that, then you have to also admit that session zeros need to be places where you agree not to play the game. If you don't, if you want me to sort of like support the idea of a session zero in like that context, you have to also then tell me that a session zero is a place where you are willing to walk out on and say, hey, you know what, this sounds awesome. I hope you guys have the most fun ever. But like this I just don't think I'm gonna fit here in with this group, with this game. I think you guys should have the best fucking time ever, and I'll catch you nerds later. Have a great time, boys, and then you just walk away. So if you want, like, if you have the courage to be able to do that on a session zero, then absolutely have your session zeros with new players. But I also just personally just don't play with people I don't know. You know, this last game I played, for example, one of our players said, "Hey, can my brother join?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't really know your brother, so you know, let me get to know you first." Like I did, like it was like a new player that was like somebody who knew one of my players knew this player, and I was like, "Sure, I trust my player enough for them to bring in this other player," you know. But to bring in that guy's that guy's new player as well, I was like, okay, this is too removed here for me to be like chill with. So let's get to know each other first. Let's just see if we can have a fun game, and then if I'm like, yeah, this dude's like, you know, I get along with this dude, then I'd probably get along with the dude that the dude gets along with. You know, and you just sort of figure it out as a D&D GM or whatever. What's going on, Brandy? Good to see you. Yeah, I think that, I don't know, I will happily help make the case for session zeros if it's for new games, new players, like pickup groups. But also, I just wouldn't play in those groups. You know, my advice for how to find a D&D group is never go to LFGs. My advice for people is always go find people that you like, and there'll within that a community of people that have a shared interest. There are going to be some D&D players, and then go play D&D with them. You know, for instance, if you're like a big like gacha player, you're a Genshin fan, you like watching VTubers, you like anything anime, you watched all the newest stuff, you play the anime games. I think finding D&D players in like a VTuber streamer Discord, or in a Genshin Discord, or in like an anime Discord, or like a Attack on Titan or whatever fucking anime you're watching this season Discord, I think you'll find your best D&D players in that context, in those areas. You know, I don't think that places for D&D players to meet up and for TTRPG players to meet up is necessarily the best place to find good groups. But, you know, a lot of people still use them, so who knows? Maybe I'm wrong about that. That's just my intuition. That's what I've noticed over time, and I'm happy to hold that opinion, you know. And I think that generally I'm proven right whenever people try that. They find their best friends playing D&D, not in a D&D LFG, but in like a BattleTech Reddit, where they're like, hey guys, y'all love BattleTech, anybody play D&D? You'll probably find people who are similar interested to you, and you'll have a great time and play great games with great friends, and everybody wins, you know. It's too dark. I know my player, or I know I'm gonna get pissed off after DM kills my pet. I shall bid farewell. That's fine. What's up, Zivzy? Question: I'm a druid. All right. And I ask me what stat block I must use: the animal stat block from the PHB or the monster manual. What is newer? Some things get or are not the same, and some passive perceptions are 10, 14 at the animal. So I would use whatever I would pick one and use it, right? So either monster manual or PHB or whatever. Pick one, and you're going to use all the stats from that book. It doesn't matter which one. Ask your GM if they have a preference. I think is the better way to do it, because yeah, there's also custom stat blocks you can use. I know that there's like, if you go to like DM's Guild or like Reddit, there's cool like more interesting expanded druid animal form stat blocks that you can look at, or you can make your own if you're really advanced. But find a set of stat blocks that you like, and then ask your DM if they're cool with that stat block.
Happy 22 months.
That's what I'd recommend, because I don't want to give you like, hey, say, oh, you should use the monster manual because it's better. And then you like, sure, and then you go to use it and your GM's just like, what the hell is this? No, you know, make sure that you and your GM talk about it. That's my recommendation. Thank you, Sam, for the 22 months. How you doing, bro? What's up? Good to see you. I'm honored, my friend, that you chose to forget to cancel your sub here for 22 months. So thank you, bro. All the places on Twitch you could forget to cancel your sub, you chose my stream. I appreciate that. Like, I think the trope of them is fair, far nonsensical and bloated. I see the appeal of the idea with 3 campaigns I've been in. We all had a moment where a player had to declare a hard stop. Oh, really? See, that's interesting. I've never had that. I've never, ever had that. In all my time playing D&D, I've like, it just hasn't happened. So I don't know. I don't know what y'all do in your campaigns. But yeah, I guess people think it's necessary because of that. Then I can sympathize, but I just don't think that it is like necessary for some does not mean necessary for all is the thing that I sort of take exception to. That's where my whole point comes from. So the star bursts from space photos are not an effect of the star, but from the camera, which is why Hubble photos have 4 flares because this 4 supports to a central mirror. And Webb has 6 flares because it has 6 hexagonal mirrors. Jesus. Now we're gonna get deep into like what happens when you have an astigmatism. That's very interesting. I didn't actually know that difference between Hubble and the Webb. I didn't notice it. Session 0 recommendations to talk to your DM about which stat block to use. Yeah, I guess. But that's not a session 0. That's a pre-game. That's a pre-game question. It's not a session 0. All right. I think the Astral like rings have to be darker versus the Sage ones. I kind of like this. This is a good vibe for us to go for. All right, evil monks. Evil monks. This is what we need. Evil monks. We need our Alabaster Consortium. We need to create a vibe. Now, actually, we do have... Hold on. We do have a little bit of concept art from... I don't know if this is going to be official, but... Alabaster. Uh-oh. Consortium. That's not how you spell consortium. Now I'm second guessing myself. Ghost Consortium, that's what we called it. Before we even named it. The Alabaster Consortium. Wow. Look at them. Ghosts with chains. This is concept art from years ago, bro. As a tip, I'm a dude that makes everything for myself, so I tip my own spell cards in the book and wild shape stats. I love to make things in my way, and thanks to tip, I play D&D 1 year now. My friends have not that into it like me. I'm 100% the druid. That's my jam. Hell yeah. Then yeah, make up your own stat box. See, look up what you like from different stats, figure out what you want, and then go for it. I think that's the best thing to do. Finally, it's always been the DM's fault too, probably because they're the only ones who can hold the situation hostage. Yeah, a lot of it comes down to bad DMs, but I don't want to put it solely on their shoulder. All right. So we're gonna read this description of the Alabaster Consortium we have from years ago and figure out how we're gonna bring this into. This started out as just a small organization, but I really want this to be a prime villain for the new adventure, for Adventure 1. Of all the treasures of the Shattered Sea, sky shards hold a unique value. Prized outside of the sea for their shining beauty, the crystals hold a special purpose to the residents of the Cloud Ocean. Used for giving their flight to the people of the sky or sea, sky shards are necessary for the survival of the residents. If a rancher loses their sky shards, they lose their ability to float their carts from town to town. If an island of towns loses their shards, they begin to slowly sink into the Eldritch Abyss. Forced to make a decision to flee or die, the residents are sometimes forced to turn to the only group with an abundance to sell, the Consortium. Ghostly in appearance and meager in words, they are welcome members in need of life-saving shards up to their ranks. Referring to a town as a parish, they leave their phantoms behind to watch over the newly recruited thralls. Though their collectors come with no notice to demand tithes in the form of money, shards, resources, or for those who cannot pay. the people. One forsaken soul is enough to ward them until the next collection. What happens to those spirited away on ghostly ships? No one knows. Their gilded churches are home to many sinister rituals and conspiracies. Some say that the thralls are drained of their life essence to fuel these magics. Others say that the forsaken thralls are consumed and converted to ghost collectors and phantoms bound to serve the great alabaster halls forevermore. Of course, any town or person can free themselves from these contracts for a very reasonable price, as the Consortium would say. That's what we need to design. That's what we're going for here. Where's our actual art? Oh. This is unfortunate. Why is this all different layers? Ugh, this is so annoying. Okay. We'll grab these and put them into our concept books. We'll keep these in here as some early concepts. Okay. Early boys. Now I want to invoke sort of like strange religious garb if we can from them. I kind of want to stay away from the skull motifs. And I kind of like the idea of like the faceless or like the wrapped motifs or whatever. So we'll try and we kind of want to keep the robes and vestments sort of vibe. And I don't want it to be as tattered as like this one, but I don't know. We got a whole, I want to play with shapes if we can for a little bit. So no doubt right now, but I just got chills reading this. No, you didn't. Shut up. Evil monks. What is with monks that all cannot see, totally blind, and maybe some blood chi? Yes, I'm German. My English is not the best. That's fine. Listen, your English is the fact that you speak English as a second language is a impressive feat on its own. So you don't have to worry about small little problems. I know what you're saying. So you are all good, my friend. Would you say there are session 0 boys concept arts? They're kind of the session zeros of monks. You're right. All right. All right, so when I'm thinking of like your average like parish priest, I kind of want to change, like I want almost like for there to be different like faceless sort of like shapes to them, as if they sort of have like these weighted vestments on them that are sort of non-functional. Because if you look at like the examples of like, you know, monks and priests from different religions and, you know, Orthodox versus Catholic and all these things, a lot of them have very interesting and very heavy weighted vestments that it sort of communicates a little bit of grandeur. It's like there's a certain grandeur communicated by the uselessness of one's outfit, right? Like think about pope robes and pope hats and shit like that, and like bishops. It's like the more impractical your clothing is, the more important you are in a lot of religions. And that isn't just a Judeo tradition. That's also in lots of other traditions, and, you know, in many places around the world. It's something we've evolved to sort of recognize, is a certain degree of like crazy shapes and oops. So I want to like try and create some of these different shapes and different like kind of crazy sort of like silhouettes if we can, for some of our consortium members, if we can. That's our goal today. We're gonna do a bunch of different concepts, a bunch of really quick little sketches, and then we'll refine a couple that we like. And that's how you do concept art, man. That's how you do concept art, bro. So imagine they have these like different hats on that their robes sort of like fall in and around from. Maybe we'll make it like, I don't know what's scarier. Is it scarier to have a larger open but dark like what's scarier? Having like an entire like open sort of like Grim Reaper Nazgul style like dark shape? Oops. like that, that's like faceless, or is it scarier to have like a very thin sort of like slit that you're like what's behind there? Because in some ways when you open it up to be the abyss, you don't know, but you kind of know that it's abyssal inside. There's like a human psychology variant to it. Let's do a little bit of both, maybe. We'll see what we think. We'll do both, okay? We'll see what's scarier. You look at the void face from the monks, you need to saving throw on int. That'd be kind of cool, actually. I want. So Garth mentioned this earlier, but having different sort of like ways that they can sort of assault your senses or assault your defenses as a player, and I think I like that idea. Of them attacking like wisdom or int or something like that, or dealing like con damage as opposed to like just dealing regular like HP damage. Though that's something that like not a lot of D&D players are familiar with, is like unique damage types. A lot of D&D players are newer to the hobby and don't have much experience with that, so we're kind of bring a little bit of that shock value back in if we can. Of like, yeah, you take a bunch of charisma damage. What does that mean? I don't know, bro. What do you think it means? Let's see what happens. So we'll do a bunch of these sort of like designs here, and then we gotta get some ideas for stats and a bunch of other stuff. The peacock effect, I'm so important I can afford to sacrifice my survivability to look spectacular. Exactly. Why do you think that is? Like anthropologically, Sam, there's because that's not just a church exclusive thing. Now we're obviously referencing the church when we say things like priests and monks and like, you know, pope outfits and shit. But why do you think that is in humans, where across history, across civilizations, across cultures, we've always had that sort of concept of just like I can afford to like adorn myself and be and look as useless as possible, you know? Or in some cultures where it's like being like morbidly overweight is like considered like valuable. It's like bro can't fight for you, but damn, he thick. It's a very like interesting sort of effect that happens psychologically when you see creatures or people like that I think we want to sort of exploit a little bit. We need to understand it a little bit more. One of those like Joseph Campbell type things we need to understand. The face of the Space Pope is always hidden because he is not a man, he is the voice of the stars. Ashley, have you been watching your Warhammer 40k lore videos again? God damn it. Ashley, you're not old, bald, or English enough to get into your 40k phase. What are you talking about? The Emperor of All Mankind coming out next. What's up, Nick? It's going well, my friend. We're talking about creepy Consortium members. I want there to be like a beauty to it. Kind of like almost like a stained glass beauty to some of their robes. A lot of filigree and flourishes and, you know? Instead of black, what about white to represent alabaster? It's like the light from underneath the hood. No features? Ooh. That's interesting. Kind of like the idea of the angels from like Diablo 3, where it's like they're just so radiant and glowing that they, but like, you know what actually, or Diablo 4, sorry. You know what I really love about Diablo 4, Brufos, is I love this. They communicate evil light incredibly well, and I'll show you exactly how. Diablo 4 cinematic. Where is the first one? Where is the intro cinematic? Right here. This, I love this. This is such a good, this is such a masterclass in design here. So these are all like, oops. These are all like the heroes of Sanctuary. Now, obviously, they have all the sort of their features obscured, except for like, you know, whatever her name was, Prava, Mother Prava. But like as they're in hell, you're like, okay, well, yeah, it's all red and whatnot. But when Inarius presents himself, the light. Notice when it hits the features of these guards, the light is not warm. The light is not a warm, beautiful, like comforting feature. Like a golden light is like often described in like religious texts and in games. You see like holy light as a paladin in Warcraft. It's golden, you know, gold and warmth to it, and light that's warm makes you feel like better about yourself. I think that has some stuff to do with like the sky and whatever, and you know, but like light that's really like sort of cool and acidic, almost like winter light or overcast light, or it's incredibly bright and it just drowns out features. It's oppressive. It's like such a good allegory for the light being not good, because the light doesn't just banish the dark, it also overpowers whatever it encounters and removes its individuality, whether or as opposed to highlighting the whatever it is. You know, like look at the soldiers disappearing in the light, and Inarius himself is too bright to look at. You know, you can't make out the features until you zoom right in on the figure. And there is that kind of darkness. And I wonder what it'd be like if they instead had bright light coming from the faces of the angels in Diablo 4. But the light itself is used as a storytelling tool in an evil way. It's uncomfortable. Like the demons are sort of like hissing at the light, but not just because it's like bright light. No, the evil is hissing at the good or whatever. No, this light is like oppressive and like damaging. So I don't know. I think that if we can sort of invoke some of that idea, maybe that's a good way of sort of handling these guys. But I think that in general, I like that idea of sort of like, let's reverse some of those expectations. So yeah, let's try a couple that are very dark robed, but have like just that bright light coming from, you know, within their hood. I think that's a great idea. We're gonna do both. We're gonna do the large sort of abyssal hood where you can kind of like the Nazgul style hood where you can kind of see nothing into it. We're gonna do the shrouded hood. The whole point of doing concept art is that you try all these different things and see what you like about them. So let's do that for our next one. It's peacocking, attracting them females, man, showing off power and wealth. My man's showing off he can afford to have them kids with you. Yeah, that's all it is. Is that literally what's called peacocking? How would a sort of diadem-shaped helmet? A diadem-shaped helmet. Kind of like the sort of the idea of kind of representing the crown. All right, I like it. We'll try that too. Because I also like the idea of like of the kind of like invoking sort of the Byzantine art or the Orthodox art where you have like the figure, you know, and he's got his little comb over or whatever, like whatever apostle we're looking at, you know, here. Right? You know, like when you're drawing apostles or whatever in like Orthodox iconography. But like, you know, they've got the big like halo effect, right? Where it's all like shiny and shit in here. You know? So like I wonder if we can use sort of the idea of the crown or the halo or the diadem, because the diadem is supposed to be like a halo. Any sort of like any kind of like coronet or crown or diadem is supposed to be kind of representative of a halo, right? It's the whole idea of kings and royalties and monarch being chosen of God. You know, you are appointed by the deity to be the king of the Franks or of who the fuck cares, right? And so the idea of the crown placed upon your head is the halo, And so if we can, maybe we can try like utilizing some of that imagery. Like, you know who does this actually, this style of Halo really well, is Warhammer 40k. They do that sort of dark gothic religious stuff where they'll have, maybe I can find an example. Astartes. I don't know what they're called besides Astartes. Banner? Okay, I can't think. Oh, wait, is this it? Yes, right here. So check this out. So they sort of like have that same idea of the crown of the halo, but it's kind of like flattened, and it's sort of taken in like the Byzantine or Orthodox like kind of abstraction of the halo, but they like put their grotesque symbolism inside of it. But it's fully round. So we should definitely try and play around with that. Like we'll try sort of the classic diadem shape, and we'll flip it around as well. We'll try all sorts of things. All right, this is gonna be. These are all great ideas that we're gonna try. We're gonna keep this. Actually, I'm just gonna put this down to the side so we just remember that we did this abomination of the Monka W apostle. You know, that'd kind of be like if we wanted to take our figure here and try putting like the. Actually, let's do it like this. Let's do a Mandela. We'll do a 12-pointed Mandela. Oh, 10-pointed Mandela, I guess. So we'll make it like kind of spiky as well. So we do our ring. And then we'll have like kind of not like fancy like Astral Sage spikes, but like kind of in like scary, like impaley spikes. So very sort of like thin and uncomfortable. But still like very like filgaried and beautiful and whatnot. And then you take that, copy it to a new layer. And we can put it into perspective. Move a little more in line with the center. Oops. Right, something like this. These are kind of vibes we can go for. Oh, forgot to delete this part. All right, we're good. We're good. We figured it out. We're fine. We're fine. I'm fine. You're fine. We're all fine. So we can kind of like do sort of the kind of vague Halo-like diadem style sort of thing here. Time for me to nap to get ready for night shifts. All right, good luck. Night shifts are rough. Cheers and have a good one. We're operating light, the harsh light at the dentist's or office or when getting surgery. Yeah, I think that's probably more functional than artistically intentional to make you feel uncomfortable, but it definitely does. It does add to that psychology of like oppressive, intense light that you can't see through. Because like light itself is not a virtue. The light, when used to reveal the dark, and if you think of like this idea like conceptually as sort of like mythologically, the light which reveals is good because it is that which reveals the dark. But the light can also be, you know, dangerous. We have these sort of like the myths of the sun and flying too close to it and gazing upon it. The idea of like, I think there's something Old Testament where like someone tried to gaze upon the face of an angel or something like that, and they had their eyes burnt out or whatever. Like I'm sure that's an old biblical story somewhere, you know, or like an old like Mesoamerican tale of like, you know, gazing into the eyes of Quetzalcoatl or something like that. I don't know. It sounds like an old historical story though that I'd believe. So let's try and finish our concept here. And like having open sleeves as well that like don't have any don't have the hands revealed from them could also be kind of uncomfortable too. or having the sleeves where you can't, where they're like closed and together where you can't see what's going on would be kind of cool too. You know?
I would like to play as Squarehead. May I play as Squarehead?
You may. I will allow it. I will allow it, Aduria. In my games, your head can be whatever shape you want. That's what makes me a great DM. Thank you for running on bits, dude. Appreciate it. Dang, Astral Sages look cool. These aren't Astral Sages. These are Alabaster Consortium members. These are a villainous group from the Shattered Sea that we need to figure out before we actually write the campaign for it. The Consortium are going to be individuals that you are tasked to do something against. Let's just, without spoiling the first the second adventure that I'm writing, the Consortium are going to be a villainous organization that you need to sort of like discover their true plans. The bard will tell me, bard in me will call these the blockhead priest. They will stonewall and take the money if you're not your soul. I mean, sure, dude. Yeah. I'm sure they have all sorts of different names colloquially. We'll call them different things. Why the fuck not? I would hope to build more tension than to require the comic relief of that in my game, but every player is different. Then bards can be bards. Could attach the halo with chains. So chains are something I did want to utilize, because like our original concepts here that we did years ago for these guys, chains were sort of a strong motif that I think I wanted. They're more ghostly chains, but I think I want to make the chains more literal, more weighted. Because like when the chains are like sort of flailing off of them, that's definitely haunting. But it's not like there's certain things you can do that remove sort of the like. I want you to not know if these are people or ghosts underneath. And as soon as you reveal things, like if you had like decrepit hands coming out that were all ghostly and stuff, like, you know, and all claw filled, or if you had like features showing or like glowing eyes or something like that, or the floating chains, you remove the sort of you make clear, or you apply clarity to what they are. That clarity is, even if it's terrifying, is still comforting because you know what you're looking at. This is sort of my argument against the Nazgul style, right? Where if we have our head here, if you have the Nazgul style just like open mask, it's like you can't see anything in there. You can't, but you can tell, but you kind of know, that it's an empty featureless sort of robe, right? And there's something about not knowing if it's an empty featureless robe, not knowing if it's a ghost, that gives it more mystery. You have more questions about this one that I feel like is a stronger design than doing our like open, you know, like we could put like what we have for this one down here. We could put this like strange looking, you know, skull mask in there. And to me, this is not as much of a chilling in almost any form. We're gonna explore these though, but this to me is not as chilling of a concept as not being able to see what's inside, if that makes sense. Oops. You know what I mean? Is understand where I'm going with this? The mystery is more frightening to me than the lack of it. Monka Mafia, they're trying, man. They're trying. What if someone in the world in the party is an agent of theirs, having gotten word someone is moving against them? Tell me that story. Fuck yeah. If I'm GMing that game, I'm down. Hell, like, yeah, bro. Do it up. You want to be working with them in some capacity. You tell me that story and I'll fucking make it work for you. So you want it to be very grand and very ornate, and a lot of length to it. Length is going to be something that's like length is kind of unsettling. There's something about it that we see these very long lines in these figures. It's very unsettling. You could make the robes larger. I think there's something about that. Let's just save our design as it is right now. Instead, let's make our robes longer. So that, again, it's not obvious if their hands like reach the bottom of their robes. The only thing that's going to be kind of ethereal and strange is the fact that they're floating. But we could also remove that by having their robes just like dragging on the ground behind them. You know, that also does sort of provide more of this sort of like slit style mystery as opposed to just the oh, this is obviously a ghost or whatever. Are all appearing parts of the body going to be wrapped like a mummy? I mean, maybe. That's what we had sort of like this, and I kind of like that idea. That if you ever do see like a hand extend out to collect the tithe, it's wrapped in these like bandages. You know, I kind of like that idea, actually. Is this just a Tomos cosplaying as a person? What's an Atomos? Gabby, we're doing concept art today. Can't wait till Eldara has fan-made adventures. Me too. That'd be... Could you imagine, Gabby? People write their own adventures in Eldara. I need to have more... Like, before that can happen, I need to have, like, the book basically made. The concept book for people. But eventually... we'll do, like, an awkward pinching in the garb. And we'll do sort of very ornate looking cuffs, maybe. Lots of filigree, lots of floral sort of design work in these guys. Making the long boys? I think long boys are better than the short boys. I think they're more eerie. I'm personally curious to see the construction of their clothing, especially since I'm into the kind of costuming, if you will. So I'm wondering how the top square shape is formed. Like, do they wear little square shapes on their head for the inside to maintain the shape? That's kind of what I'm trying to go for, as if there's some sort of a wrapping. Like almost some sort of like thing that they would wear that kind of changes the shape of their, you know, something kind of along those lines, Sienna. It changes the shape of their figure, right? Like that's something I want to do a lot of. So we're gonna try a bunch of different like shapes and stuff for their head. Oops. Oops. But of course their face would be all oops. Their face would be wrapped though. It would have these like mummy wrappings on them. So there wouldn't be any indication of a physical form underneath it, but God, these hotkeys. Okay. All right, let's keep working it out. I think definitely the so we could also try though a potential alteration to him, which I don't know if it's going to be as successful or not, would be to have the sleeves instead folded. And placed together. It kind of inspires that kind of almost like devout worship. Lots of importance in sleeves across human history. We see sleeves and we know that person's important if they got big old sleeves. Who knows why? But we fucking love sleeves as humans. You know, we could even try them super long as well. A little bit of separation towards the bottom, just so there's that sense of like they're not one piece of fabric. Maybe they pose like that occasionally, but there is something kind of haunting that I really like about the sleeves just being to the sides, just sort of like drifting there. You know, there's just like there's something about it hanging that feels like it just feels more otherworldly and kind of like almost dead. You know, there's almost like too much like intentional like human motion behind the sleeves, like holding together. Although that might contrast better with them floating. The sleeves hanging long like this might work better if, for instance, they have some connection to continue the idea of them being real, right? By having their robes just sort of drag almost like a slug trail behind them. And they can kind of just like float or drift through that. We're going to keep, part of doing concept art is you keep your work as you go. There's many different ways you can do concept work, but this is one that I like to do. Is called iterative or evolving concepts, where you have one sort of master concept that you're working on, but you're saving different ideas and doing different like offshoots for it to develop this idea further and further out. Okay, what's next? Big Mouth Boys in Final Fantasy. Suck people in is rumored to be Gateway to another dimension. Oh, those guys. Okay, yeah. All right. Yep. Reminds me of the Tudor head fashion for women in a way. What's that like? Oh, yeah. Tudor women. Yeah. The like the weird like the fucking strange like this kind of shit. Changing the head shape. I think changing the head shape. So there's a couple things that are important here. Changing the head shape, I think, is one way to dehumanize them very effectively, but also not in a way. So changing head shape. For one, the head needs to be sort of connected to the body in sort of a conceptual kind of like realistic proportionality, right? Where it seems like the head can kind of fit into these large robes, right? But if we change the head so that it looks like it's wearing a crazy hat, that's not so like scary or haunting or otherworldly, because it's just a dude wearing a crazy hat, and we have crazy hats across history. But when you change the shape of the actual head and then you obscure it in a way, you know, you have this like sense of like, well, what the fuck is that? You know, especially if like, I don't know, you have more like draping cloth or whatever. You like completely changed it. But it's not just like a hat, right? It's like obviously something very like strange and weird or whatever. Which we'll do a bunch of different like shape designs, but I just want to try and figure if we see if we can figure out this whole silhouette and design overall for our consortium individuals. And this is more like, so this is also the priest class. There are going to be thralls that are available to encounter. Because there needs to be a wretched being to also sort of like contrast against. We need to have the wretch as far as like a core part of the experience of being around the consortium. So you could imagine like I don't know, maybe if we had those ghostly chains leading to like creatures that are like, you know, golem looking fucking hunched over. All mutated and fucked up or whatever. Just like crawling on the ground behind them. And it's like they can say like, oh, these are abyssals that we're like trying to train or tame or whatever, you know. Right. Ah, fuck it. Yeah, whatever. You know, so they could have that sort of like those like things or creatures following behind them that are a contrast from the beauty of the like grandeur of the church and its like high priests and stuff, to the withered, wretched, and worn that they use for various things. You know, I think does this really well. That concept actually is World of Warcraft. The Venthyr. The Venthyr have their like grand vampire counts and stuff, and then they have their like their withered versions, or the withered from Warcraft as well. Okay. Or like the demons from Diablo, the frost dudes from Game of Thrones. There's a nice contrast between the commander and like the wretched or version. I think that it's stronger once we're sort of giving it the vaguely religious implication. Let's plop that in there. Oops. There we go. There we go. All right. Color palette, though. I wonder if we should make them more dark or light, though. Legends say that heretics are sucked into the void. Their robes are subject to eternal torment. Their leaders once devoured the stars right off an astral night. A cloister of them once marched on a town, and come morning they weren't even bodies to bury. Yeah, that's. I think the lack of remains is something that's very haunting, that we can sort of use. That like they don't kill people, they spirit them away in certain ways, or there's like they have these like iron maidens. Like, you know what I want to stay away from? I want to kind of stay away from skeletal imagery and skeletons and bones. And I want them to be kind of like always very like weirdly clean, because you can imagine that actually it's like there's never any bodies, there's never any bones, there's never any skeletons and left behind. But then you're like adventuring into like one of their cathedrals and you find a catacomb of just like levels upon levels of basement of crypts where they're just packed full of bones, you know. That'd be kind of a cool like reveal or whatever. But it's all rumors from easily spooked townfolk, so you don't know what's true and what isn't. And I think that's important, is to have sort of a mystery to them, a myth to them as well, because the less understood, the more mystical, the more you're going to communicate that in game by having players and individuals in the world, you know, telling stories of who knows how correct they are. What if the sleeves are connected but on the... Oh, you know what? Let's try this. Okay. I agree with Guapo. I like the sleeves connected. But you know what I actually really liked? Is I liked the sort of the hanging vestments. So let's make him a little bit more useless by having his sleeves connecting underneath his vestments. So he's not like ready. He's not like ready to do anything with his hands. If that makes sense. And they're like very low and kind of like relaxed as a position. They're not like high up and together. You know, they're very low and kind of like, yeah, relaxed. Like almost lower than they should be for... Yeah. Okay. All right. A lot of concept art is trying to figure out how the art is going to communicate certain ideas to people. So you have to kind of go deep on some of these concepts of like how to communicate an idea sort of to the subconscious of the brain. That's why we're thinking about things like the size of the slit and why like this doesn't work, but this is more eerie. You know, or we can change the slit. And we will try this with different like head shapes. You know, we'll try different helms, different vestments that are like... I like the idea of the height to it, though. Almost like... Like, how would that even work on a real person? Right? Like, is the person just staring through, like, here? Do you just see a little eyeball just looking out? They're like, hey, what's going on, man? Yeah, what's up? Things like this. Maybe there's like, we need to find like an emblem. So that's an important thing, is we need to find an emblem of the Consortium. That looks vaguely religious. That we can sort of reference to their garb, you know? beads, I think, are also a good thing to reference. Chains. Cloth sort of very loosely folding on itself. Almost kind of ghostly, delicate. I like this silhouette of it being wrapped over the shoulders, like the vestment over the shoulder. I think is a very strong silhouette. I want to connect the cloth in some way, but I do like the unbroken. Because in some senses it needs to be kind of quite literal for it to be haunting. You know what I mean by that? It needs to feel like, again, there's a mystery of, is that a person or is that a ghost? Can have that like dark and light colored fabrics together. Like black and white's gonna be very black, white, and gold. I think it's gonna be a very important color palette for them. Almost like black, white, and silver for the Astral Knights, but it's gonna be a bit of a different take on it, I guess. Like almost like a warmer black than a cooler black, like the Knights. They sunbleach from all the light if the church they leave their hair behind, maybe. They also leave rooms for the DMs to be creative. Maybe once a DM's campaign, they're just dudes with an Archmage leader, but they're now pale imitation of true Consortium. Yeah, I mean, like, I think the mystery is an important feature, Ashley. I think you're definitely right. Like again, what's my goal here with Eldara? It's to create a platform for storytelling that is appealing to the best storytellers. Which is like kind of an arrogant thing to try and do, right? Like, who are you to do that as a writer, as an artist, as a storyteller? But I think that it's a fun goal to pursue. It's like a worthy goal as a creative to pursue, for one. And there needs to be always room for those stories to come out. Like, I'm not going to get Spielberg to direct a movie in Eldara without getting, like, James, the DM, to direct his game in Eldara. It needs to be interesting to everyone before it's interesting to the most successful and best storytellers out there. So it's like, how do you make it interesting to GMs who want to run this in the D&D world? Well, you have to give them room for, like, a DM has to see a concept in the world and then see a somewhat obvious way that they can tell a story that they want to tell.
I believe these guys are just cosplaying as ghosts, and they got a little too caught up in things.
Well, you know, you make an Instagram, you post one booby pic as you as a Genshin character, gender bend, and then you're fucked forever. That's the way it goes, Aduria. They got too many likes on their Instagram photos, and now they're stuck cosplaying. Yep, Truge. Thank you, 100 bits. Appreciate it. How about incorporating some Venetian imagery, the idea of anonymized faces behind caricatured flamboyant expressions? Ooh, that's interesting. There's something chilling about that, but almost like not haunting, you know? It's kind of like the Joker is chilling but not haunting. I wonder if there'd be like a more, like, if you had like a more, like, if these are priests, if you had some sort of form of like Archon, right? Some kind of like Archon that is like some like top variation or whatever that had and like spoke, right? That actually had like features. it'd be interesting if you had that like creature or whatever, but had different like masks, kind of like almost like hexadecimal from Reboot. Do you know, if I say hexadecimal from Reboot, does any of you know who I'm talking about? Any Canadian boomers in chat? Any 90s cartoon enjoyers? Right? You used to have a crush on her? Yeah, my dad was obsessed with Reboot. But you know what I mean, right? Because like hexadecimal, she communicated by switching her masks. She never had like a moving expression. She always just like moved her face or like waved her hand, and there was a new mask on her face, and these are like the different masks. So there's like terror, angry mask, yeah, like this. I could be down with some sort of like, if you need to have a figure that is communicatable and needs to be more emotive than your average like thralls or priests, you could have them be the kind of the Venetian like sort of hexadecimal mask type. That'd be kind of cool. I'd be down with that. I need to watch it. It's pretty good. Avoid making the top of the robes pointy, or don't make the robes white. Sincerely, your American friends. Yes. You're right. We got to avoid that. That's a good call, Ashley. I wasn't thinking about that, but you're right about that one. All right. I think if we have pointy in the sense of like a almost like I don't think this is I think this is better than if it was just like you know, just a triangle. I think this to me speaks more to like Renaissance Crusader than it does to American problem. So that's a good point. We gotta be careful about that kind of shit. Can't be too pointy. Nope. The robes have to be black and white, not pure white. That's, yeah, alright, okay, yeah, gotta make sure that one's, it's a checklist we gotta go through, yep. To avoid problems. The real test is to see if Guapo digs the vibe, because Guapo likes the kind of like dark, like gothic religious stuff that I'm going for this. If Guapo likes the vibe, then you know we're doing something right, I guess. One of the best Canadian cultural outputs of all time. True. I didn't realize that Americans got to see that as well. I know, but Reboot had someone's random YouTube videos. I mean, yeah, I guess Reboot's pretty old though, right? They say the user lives outside the net and inputs games for pleasure. No one knows for sure, but I intend to find out. I liked how dark Reboot got as like the audience aged. The show got darker. The whole thing with like Enzo and I think her name was Andrea. I don't remember. But with them growing up and becoming like space pirate badasses surfing through the net, like what a great complete transition and evolution of the show that actually worked. How many TV shows or stories completely change their genre and their like storytelling, but it actually like makes sense and matters and like works, you know? Washington getting rerun on TV. Yep. Maybe the non-clergy servants wear humanoid masks like that. Do you think it's stronger to have the non-clergy servants, the thralls, wearing those masks, or do you think it's stronger if you have only like one person? Because like for the thralls, I was thinking thralls could be kind of like, you know, the okay, there's this level in Diablo 3. Diablo 3 Faces. What was it? Diablo 3, Act 4, Giant. Or Act 3? Yeah. Giants. Fuck, man. I wish I had Diablo 3 installed. I would literally load it up and go show you right now. You know what I'm talking about? They're in the back of the... Oh, the Damned. Yes. Okay, okay, okay. So they're in the back of the Diablo levels. And there's these... There are these giant, like, people that just have, like, you know, horrible, like, steel plates, like almost like nailed or riveted to their face, seared to their flesh. And you see this crazy imagery in the back. That's like, I wonder if this is stronger for the thralls and we save the mask, the emotive masks, just for the, like, the Archon, or if it's better to have the emotive be for the lower guys and have the Archon be even more faceless and less emotive, you know? Dragon's Dogma 2 showcase is within 2 hours. Dragon's Dogma 2? I haven't played Dragon's Dogma 1, dude. I didn't realize the 2 was already upon us. Alright, let me know how it is. We're just gonna copy his shoulder design over. You know, in Season 3 of Reboot is my basis foundation for my Spelljammer. Really? Fuck yeah. It was so good though, wasn't it? There's probably like a 23-year-old in chat, or not in chat, but just watching the stream that has no idea what we're fucking talking about when we say Reboot. And that's okay. Reboot was like the best part of the best episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation, which were all holodeck episodes. Reboot was like that blend, that vibe, you know. You know exactly what I mean. And you know I'm right, too. As usual, you can call me an asshole, but you can't say I'm wrong. Been working on a piece along similar lines, by the way. A bit more Day of the Dead influence. Okay. Okay, yeah. I dig it. I do like the Day of the Dead sort of aesthetic. I wanted to incorporate like a peaceful sort of death cult that was celebratory of the cycle of like druids. Because one story I find really appealing, Guapo, is druids and necromancers being very similar, where they appreciate and maintain the cycle. The balance of life and death are very important to them, and I wanted them to be slightly Day of the Dead inspired, but I'm not in that culture. I don't know what I'm doing. I have to do a whole lot more research before I could probably do anything that would respectfully homage without being directly, you know, ripping off or whatever. It's great. I'm still pissed about how the ending went. I don't remember how the ending went, even a little bit. I don't have any clue. I don't remember the story. I remember they find Bob, and I remember there was a Silver Surfer, and I don't remember where Dot was, but don't remember the end of it. Sanderson Inquisitor. What is a Sanderson Inquisitor? I know what a Sanderson is. I assume you're talking about the writer Sanderson, but I don't know what a Sanderson Inquisitor is. What's up, Penguin? What's going on, bro? How you doing, brother? It's cool if Reboot came back, but not like how it came back in the later 2010s. I don't know, man. I think I'm happy with a lot of culture. Not like cultural necromancy to me is one of the big problems with media these days. Y'all agree with that? Like you ever think that certain things should be left to just like be a great memory? You know? That's the way I feel about lots of things.
Sanderson Inquisitor is a chatter who keeps inquiring why you don't read The Way of Kings.
Oh. Oh, so you're talking about Jackie Felling. Okay, Guapo, yeah, got it. We are arting. We're concepting Bylung. I need an entire World Anvil article written for the Alabaster Consortium, alright? Go. Just hire Apache and an Eldar cultural consultant? Yeah, I should. Yeah. I don't want to hire too many cultural consultants. I think I still get in trouble. Like, you know, one of the biggest challenges I'm gonna have is there are certain things that are like when you reference certain cultures, people are okay with it. When you reference certain other cultures, they're not okay with it. And so, like, one of my mods when I was like making mod characters wants to be like a merfolk, but she wants to be a hot merfolk. But she also, we thought it'd be cool if we like created some sort of clothing that's based loosely around like Indian sort of traditional garb. But I don't know if I'm gonna get canceled for doing that or not. Because even if I have like a literal, you know, young Indian woman helping me try and figure out how to reference the clothing, I still feel like someone would get mad about it and try and cancel me. People get very sensitive when you try and do anything about, like, you know, for certain like East Asian stuff. Like if you're referencing like, you know, Han Chinese or like Korean or like Japanese, you're cool. But as soon as you reference like other East Asian cultures, it's like a problem, or whatever. So, or West Asian for that matter. So I don't know how much a cultural consultant would save you from cancellation if I do it wrong. Fishy, Fishy, I want to talk to you. I want to have a language discussion. I've decided something about the ancient Eldari texts, and I need you to help me make it sell the idea. All right. We talked about this earlier today, and I said I needed a Fishy to bounce ideas off of. It feels Canada today. It's absolutely frigid. Well, it's actually rather warm here right now, Penguin. It is currently only -6 degrees out, and -6 in socialism units is 21 degrees in freedom. So yeah, -6 socialism is 21 freedom. So it's chilly out here. Oh, it's actually chilly then for. Okay, it's cooler there than it is here. Got it. You ever read Sanderson? Mistborn Inquisitors are antagonists from his Mistborn books. Ooh, okay. Certain, you mean white cultures, right? I mean, like, you can reference white cultures if you want, but, like, you know, understandably, people get very, very upset if you reference certain cultures. But like, no one cares if you reference like Japanese cultures or like I said, Japanese or Korean or whatever. You can reference that. You can put samurais and shit in your world, and everyone's like, cool, you know. But there's certain sensitivities for certain things you want to be aware of as a creator. You're not get canceled for it. We Indians love it when people appreciate our culture. I'm not worried, Garthan. I'm not worried about you or Bizzo or any of like the Indian, you know, community in our chat canceling me. I'm worried about a white girl that lives in San Francisco getting offended on your behalf, Garthan, and then trying to cancel me for doing something that references your culture. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I'm not actually worried about offending you or Bizzo because you guys are like, yes, do it. Fuck yeah, let's go. But I don't know. That's what I'm worried about. With how our socialism units, Celsius. Yes, Celsius. Anything that's not American units is socialism. Unfortunately, Canada and Europe, we got to deal with it, bro. I'm here. What you need? All right, Fishy. Here's the concept. Okay, Fishy. When it comes to the Eldari language, you know the basis of it is circle with breaks in it and pointy bits, right? Now, I had intuition to sort of make it a language that you could like write and speak and whatever, you know, and there's different circles with different pointies and different like lengths of pointies and different whatevers, and I want to try and develop this into a language. Now, there's been a lot of discussion on stream recently about how to do so, and I think I've come to a conclusion. I want the language to be beyond comprehension by modern scholars. That's what I want. I want it to be hieroglyphic. I want it to be alphabetical. I want it to function like a mathematical programming language in certain ways. And I don't want to worry about how to speak it. I don't want anyone to speak it. I want modern scholars who try and understand the language to be like children trying to understand kanji for the first time, right? And so what I need to do is not develop the language in a way that is functional and understandable and stuff, and we can like write in it and speak in it and whatever. I want to develop certain ideas about it and figure out how to make it convincingly mysterious. That's what I want to do. Yep. 21F, why is it still warmer in Canada than it is in cornfields? I don't know, man. It's standard scientific units? Nope. Unfortunately not, Ultima. Unfortunately, no. Celsius, although it does make more sense to me as to our freezing point of water being 0 as to whatever the American freezing point of water is, we still aren't as important as America. All of Europe, all of Canada, all of Asia aren't as important as America, and you know, if we have a problem with it, we can take it up with their basketball team because they win their baseball team because they win the World Series of baseball every year. So as unfortunate as it is, our units of measurement are irrelevant. So all that matters is the units of measurement that are in Marvel movies. There's a thing in anthropology about way different cultures feel about groups versus out groups. People call it open and closed cultures. And that's kind of distinction you're talking about. Is it? That's probably correct. Yeah. Some dumb white girl living in California who can't even make chai tea getting offended on how Sari should look is funny. But that's what you deal with on Twitter. That's what you deal with, bro. You know? Glad you're getting along with the World Anvil and all. Can't wait for the next stage. I'm probably gonna be able to release it in. I want to do a big release on the new year, if I can, on like our end of the year stream at the end of December where we talk about everything we did. I kind of want to drop it then, but we'll see if it's ready. You want to make intentionally complicated language for the point of it being overly complicated? Yes. Yes, I want to build the sense of the Astral Sages trying to understand the ancient Eldari language. I want it to be like barbarians in the 9th century attempting to understand computer programming. That's what I want. That's what I want. I don't know why you want to make it more weird, because that's what I want. That's what I want. I want it to be a sense of it's a lost language. It is beyond. It was made by those who are beyond the intelligence of the modern mortals. And although you can understand and begin to grasp certain powers of it, and let me tell you why. The ancient Eldari runes were a way to access the origination magic of the universe as far as the modern Astral Sages are concerned. And so Astral Sages are like playing at this archaeology game where they're trying to understand that magic more and more and more. And you as an Astral Sage are one part historian, archaeologist, one part sage and caster, one part monk and knight. You're all those things as an Astral Sage or an Astral Knight. So you're trying to do all that at once. You're trying to uncover the secrets of the past. You're trying to understand them. You're trying to develop your own skills. You're trying to connect with the astral aura. It's religious. It's scientific. It's historical. It's all these things. It's a vibe that I want to be very unique to the Astral Sage class in Eldara, right? But to try and bring in like a non-fantasy trope, like the idea of lost technology that you find in science fiction that I find very appealing, we have to bring it in a way that's inherently magical, in a way. So I want to make the language, I've decided, the language is always supposed to be beyond easy comprehension. So maybe there's a way to like write basic hieroglyphics in Eldari. Runes, if you will. But to understand how the language properly works and to how to properly utilize the language, yes, I want it to be more complicated and more weird. Because I want people to feel like they are trying to uncover a mystery of the past. Like there's something left to uncover rather than it's a solved language like Elvish that you can write in and then write "fuck you, mom" on like, you know, a note and hand it to her. And you're like, tee hee hee, I made Elvish. And she's like, oh, that's great, sweetheart. Nice Elvish. And then you're like, I'm so bad. I'm such a rebellious child. Right? You know, that kind of stupid shit. I'm trying to avoid that. I want it to truly be a mysterious element that entangles the past in a sense of wonder that I think this is one of the right directions to do that in with, or whatever. Science is all conspiracy. How the government controls the universe and prevents us from ascending to a higher state of being. Yeah, shut up, Blaze. If I wanted an opinion on flat earthing, I would ask. Oh, that was about to be mean. I was about to dunk on a mod for no reason, and I just decided not to. The fact the base of each glyph is a circle already makes it hard to figure out which side is up. That's true, actually. You know, There's a bit of an issue with it being ideographic and alphabetical. Exactly. And the fact that you can't wrap your head around how it would work is precisely what I want to sell. I want language nerds to be like, wait, how does this work? You know, that's why I want to in some ways enlist the help of software engineers to help me design a language, so that language nerds like you, Fishy, look at this and go, what the fuck? How does this make sense? But if you say to a software engineer, imagine this is like a Python script, and like, here's how it's constructed. I want a software engineer to go, oh shit, that's cool. And then a language nerd to be like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Which way is up? You know? Hieroglyphs are specifically Egyptian. You're wanting like pictographs / ideographs, kind of. But I like the formation of hieroglyphs. That's why I say a hieroglyph as opposed to a regular glyph. How does one go about writing a language that defies all understanding while understanding it yourself? I don't want to, Sam. I don't want to understand the language myself. That's what I'm asking Fishy for help with, is making it convincingly. It's like the dilithium of Star Wars, or sorry, of Star Trek. I need to invent the language dilithium crystals is what I need, Sam. You know, and I need somebody who's far enough in their language abilities to help me invent that. I might need someone who's more versed in software engineer, but so I said you don't actually want to make language then, so you don't need my help. No, but I need. Okay, never mind. All right, if maybe I need to explain it better, but I need help convincingly creating something that feels a certain way, Fishy, and I feel like a language expert is the person to help me with it. But if it's not obvious to how that's done, maybe I need to consider how to explain it better. It's probably my bad here. I'm not looking for tangibility. I'm looking for magic. It's like if you ask a physicist how to create magic in science fiction that feels realistic, they can do that for you, right? I need the same done for me for language. I need language magic. I belayed the script though. Yeah, all right, sick. I would never call Python cool purely on principle. Oh, I'm sorry. Ruby, Go. I don't know what your chosen functioning language is. Yeah, please. My bad. Working off the circle base, not knowing which side is up. What if each point bit is a different space on a three-dimensional plane? That's interesting, actually. Like it's almost like a vector. Oh my god, dude, Ivalon, you're talking about a vector-based language. Oh, that's such a cool idea. A language that's a vector-based language. How does that even work? I don't fucking know. Everyone's trying to read it in 2 dimensions? Absolutely. That's fucking sick. White Arum? What is that? White gold? So you don't even, you just want the taste of one. No, I want the magic of one. And I want it convincing enough that it feels magical, that it feels like there's something there that you can understand is a language, but I want it to have certain magic to it, you know? They just wanted a name for a cool material. That's fair. What is the base idea of the language is genius. You may also add more circles as part of it to, for example, to show the tense or conjugation. Yeah, and that's the kind of thing I want to be actually just like mysterious to people, is how to actually construct a language and write in it, you know? Talk about programming and software engineering. Exactly. That's the kind of stuff that I want, is I want something weird where it's like, yes, the language is a vector-based language. And you're like, how the fuck? What do you mean a vector-based language? Right? It's like graphically, I can't understand what a 4-dimensional vector would be. I can't comprehend it, but the idea of it is cool as fuck. You know? It's like, what am I looking at? You're looking at 4-dimensional art. What the fuck? Or like when you know, for software engineers, you know how weird and foreign and alien quantum computing code is when you look at it? Like code written with the intent of a quantum computer or quantum computation. It's fucking weird. It's like you're looking at AI, like code for AI being like written by a fucking like priest in the Middle Ages. You're like, what the fuck is this? It's just otherworldly and strange. You don't want a vector-based language? Why not? Sell me on the reasons why I don't want a vector-based language. You need to code a person, then the three of us would need to talk together to figure out how to incorporate different aspects of our disciplines. Exactly. Because I want the mystery and magic of each thing to make... it's like, Fishy, I think any good mystery is obvious enough to be for you to understand the like base concepts of it, but mysterious enough and have magic to it that like you require a basic understanding of something, I think, for there to be magic of like why it's unique or special or whatever. And so I need to build this idea out so that it is like it's exciting but like a mystery to people who are like into writing languages and shit. Basically, I'm just trying to impress Sir Cobalt because for some reason he likes writing old languages and inventing them. He wrote me an entire fucking letter. You know the first thing, Fishy? The first thing that anyone ever sent me from my stream that I like met through streaming, the first thing anyone ever sent me was, I don't remember if it was Cobalt or Thorkin. It was one of the two of them. I think it was a book that Thorkin sent me. But the first thing that anyone like ever like sent me that was like handwritten or whatever was a letter that Cobalt wrote to me that was like kind of like in world in a different language. It was fucking crazy. That guy's an absolute nerd. So I need to make something that would impress him. Can I suggest looking up a Pigpen cipher for an alphabet? Oh my god, yes. Okay. Yeah, this shit's crazy. And like I love that, Garth. I love all sorts of different like codes and ciphers and like writing. Like this shit's really interesting to me. Use graphical symbols assigned according to a key similar to the above diagram. Yep. There it is. And then you have like, but the problem is that this is as cool as it is, like this is good inspiration, but I don't want it to actually be something that someone can crack or decode. Like I would potentially be willing to like create an actual language that's so difficult to crack or decode, but I would have to ask somebody who is so advanced in like cipher breaking and like language, like code breaking and cipher creation and stuff, that I don't know who I would find that would create like who could be good enough to create something like that, you know? It's kind of like an ARG. Because then you have to create a sector vectrix, a matrix, its einspace, a basis, orthogonality, hermitivity, diagonalization properties. I only know what like two of those words meant, but I love the other two. That's the kind of shit I'm looking for here. Big words that people don't understand the meaning of. That's what I want. That's what I want of complexity. Exactly, Ultima. That's why I want it. Probably help a lot. I've started looking into conlangs, but I'll look into them more. Just let me know when you want to like have fun, talk about stuff. Now, if we actually hang out on Discord, Fishy, it'll just be to complain about our workloads for an hour. So we need to like probably get to the Christmas break so that you don't have like school and I don't have like stress, and then we can probably sit down and have a conversation about anything other than degenerate escapism and whatever else. You know I'm right. Got 3 more weeks? All right, that's fair. An hour is generous? Yeah, well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, bro. You know? If I understand, Evan, we aren't actually making the language. It's just a look. Exactly. Exactly. We're creating magical language. We're creating the magic of a language without actually creating a language. 100%. But we need the experts in linguistics to help us create something that's convincing enough to reinforce the mystery. Do you think the guy's TikTok that makes a system to make spell circles is really fucking cool and D&D related? No, I have not. Send it to me. I want it. I want it. I want spell circles. I need spell circles in my arcane casting. Okay, I kind of want to shade this in now. We'll just do some quick hatching on it. And we'll try another one. We're doing concept art today, all right? There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. There's only the next answer. Do an off collab with MatPat of game theory. Maybe if I'm relevant enough one day to do a collab with MatPat, I will. We talk, we bitch for hours. Yeah, that's true. I'll put in stream topics. All right, let me see this shit. All right, what is this shit? This might be very loud. Fuck, I need to sign in. Continue with email? Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna check this out on the browser that actually is signed into TikTok. Alright, what do we got here? Very quick introduction how I draw spells to look like this. We identify the things that we... Is there a sound to this?
Rather than it will tell you literally everything about the spell. I'm not going to be able to write the description into it, for example. We then count, so we've got 5 elements, we double it and add 1 to get the number of dots we're going to draw.
Alright.
We then label these points, 1 through however many sides there are.
11, got it.
This is where we start actually writing our spell. Using these points and the lines that connect them, we can make a unique shape for every single element in the set of levels in this example.
I like points.
So if I want to write a cantrip or a level 0 spell, I just copy what the corresponding diagram says into this. Now the generation of these is very involved and uses some really cool non-cyclic binary nonsense, but you can read more about that when I eventually release it. For now,
I will.
I'm just going to say that this is right.
Okay.
Or let me know.
I believe him.
Tell you more about the code I've got that does this. So we've encoded level, now we've got to go to school, but we don't want any
So it's based on D&D spellcasting, okay.
Otherwise we'd end up losing information and not be able to decode what the shape means. So where level went right to the next point, for school we're going to always go 2 points along. Which means the diagrams look something like this.
Okay.
So I'm going to put in an evocation spell.
So it's like an arbitrary,
for
like,
type,
okay.
We don't go 1 or 2 along, we go 3. You're probably seeing the pattern now. So our symbol looks like this so far. For area, we go to the 4th. So I've just added a sphere in here in green. And we're going to make it a touch spell, because this doesn't make sense as a spell.
Okay.
And so, we have a symbol for a level 0 evocation fire spell that's a sphere, range of a touch.
I understand.
Stupid spell, but it's fun.
I like it though.
In fact, I'm going to call it stupid.
Now, how do we make it look dumb?
The chances are a wizard worth their salt's not going to write in all these colours, but just to write it like this, but you can still decode it. Because you can always separate out the lines.
This is based on his own code that he wrote for it. It's his own, yeah.
Groups. So that's how I get a diagram like this. But of course the connecting lines don't have to be straight. So
that's how you make it look stupid.
Like I think this looks like
all spell circles have to be stupid.
Semicircular lines. And again, so here's Eldritch Blast. And here's the breakdown of Eldritch
Well, that's
Blast.
pretty.
I personally think wizards would probably write like this.
Wizards do write, man.
Like this,
what a fucking statement! What a true statement. If you've got cool spell scrolls or spell circles, the wizards are gonna be the ones that write them the most boring. Like, dude, true.
Circular arcs, and we can change.
Druids would just do fucking like twisty straw lines.
More like straight lines, which is another fun detail.
Well, that's cool.
In fact, we don't even need to put the points in a shape. Thank you, Tobiel, for this one.
That's a cool idea.
Points to follow a function line. This is a cubic function. Semicircle.
This is some like this is some math-based art.
Literally anything. Like and follow for more because I might be releasing a lot of this pretty soon.
This guy's a fucking dork. I'm following.
Here is a
all right. I'm following it. That's fucking cool. I want to see more. This is the kind of shit that I want to like. When I go on TikTok, I don't want to see like. I don't want to hear like Cardi B and see some chick shaking her boobs around. I want to see some loser nerd math shit talking about fucking cool stuff in how to make D&D spell art. That's what I want. This is all I want out of TikTok. How do I get onto math talk and art talk at the same time? That's sick. I gotta make my own spells at some point in time. I gotta figure out how to make Eldari spells. But again, the Eldari spells have to be mysterious. It's a whole thing, man. This is gonna be difficult. Okay. Maybe we'll put some color to this, actually. I wonder if these sketches are enough to put color to. Probably not yet, but I don't see why that should stop us. White, black, and gold. I'm very inspired by the art. I don't know the artist's name for the color palette, but there's this artist, this musician. I think his name is Apache, but he has this like almost like Roman, like sort of Catholic imagery. That's like all very, let me see if I can find this shit. Music Apache. How do you spell this guy? His name. Good, bad, and the how do you spell this guy's name? Apache. Yeah. He's got this cool imagery for all of his like his albums and shit. That's just like kind of like really haunting. I don't know, it's like historically based, but God, he's handsome. What the fuck? Okay, anyway. But it's all very like kind of like creepy, spooky, like skulls and like kind of deconstructions of like classical sculptures and stuff like that, you know. And I'm kind of inspired by this. He uses green like for the kind of like the green helps in sort of like oxidization is automatically like discomforting, which is why this is like kind of a messy oxidization of copper, not like the Statue of Liberty oxidization where it's like all this nice like sheen green. It's like kind of weird and cursed. But I do like this sort of the black, the white, and the gold. So rather than using like gold, white, and oxidized copper, I would just do black, white, and gold. But this is kind of a vibe I want to go for these guys. So like almost more, this is actually good to look at and remind myself, because I kind of think I want a more like warm, coppery gold, bronzy gold, as opposed to like a shiny like paladin gold. That's actually a good, like, not like this. This gold is too like paladin-y. There's something about the burnished whatever like non-pure gold, even this is a bit too pure, that I kind of want to reference for color palette. Tom inspired. We just solved part of the equation that the introduction of with the introduction of one TikTok. I mean, that's true. We're there now. We've solved TikTok. Do I need to what? How do I I don't want TikTok. Stop giving me notifications. Okay, whatever. I need the mods to just upload clips of mine to TikTok and just see how far it grows. I need a clip talk. Just give all the mods my TikTok password and just see what happens. Love these so much. Of course, he lives in Montreal. Oh, really? He does some pretty cool music. I like it. He uses like classical music samples, like Moonlight Sonata and shit like that. He's cool. He's a bad dude. I like his music a lot. His music makes me feel like a Renaissance villain, you know, like an evil bishop or something, or like an evil cardinal, while I'm like plotting to like overthrow like the local, I don't know, the local nobility or something, but like also with cool techno, right? Acknowledging that TikTok's actually useful and not gallons and gallons of dopamine. I still recommend avoiding TikTok like the fucking plague. If you're like, well, here's the thing. There is no, stop TikTok. How do I mute this stuff? I accidentally hit home. I didn't mean to. Okay, I'm gonna go TikTok. Okay, there we go. I'll close it. There is a saying that I think is very a quote from an artist that I think is very pertinent to our modern age. It's by a man named Samwise Didier, who is a Blizzard artist. If you know like old Warcraft art, he was one of the main guys behind that. And he says often, create more than you consume. Now, what you consume, do whatever you want, man. But be aware of the dopamine traps of things like TikTok, Instagram, and wherever else. And so I go to these platforms to like see what's current, see what's interesting. But I'll often set like a time limit for myself, you know? I'll be like, all right, I'll stay here for 10 minutes. And then I'll glance up at my time and like 12 minutes have gone by and I'm like, shit. And then I'll close it. But I have lost hours before on social media platforms scrolling, and I know the dangers of it. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, but if you like TikTok, I'm not going to say, oh, you can't be on TikTok and be a productive individual. The data shows you're not going to be a productive individual, but, you know, I'm not saying that you can't defy it. But yeah, as long as you're creating more than you're consuming as an artist, you're fine. If you spend 3 hours playing video games one day, spend 4 hours painting. You spend 5 hours on video games, TikTok, and anime, then I guess you have to find 6 hours to paint. Or write, or whatever. But just create more than... Thou shalt create more than thy consume. Cardinal Richelieu from the Musketeers. Yep, that's what I want. They're going to be, say, Samwise Gamgee? No. No. Wrong Samwise. The inferior of the Samwises. Samwise Gamgee was cool. Karen Frodo, yo, I get it. Lambus bread, sure. Potatoes, yeah, you're a G. But, nah, man. Sam Didier. He's the artist, man. He knows what's up. ABC with Samwise. Always be creating. Yep. Twitch is my weakness. Here's the thing. I don't think Twitch is a problem because I never find Twitch distracts me so much from what I'm doing. I think long form content is great. I will always be like very content because the thing is, if you're doing shorter form content that you're listening to or watching or whatever while you're creating stuff, you watch a YouTube video and it's like 15 minutes and then you're like, wow, that was interesting, and you were productive while the YouTube video is going, but then the YouTube video ends and you have to like get back to trying to find, you know, another, you have to try and find another video so that you can keep going. Or if you're watching, like, or if you're listening to music, then you're like, ugh, I don't want to listen to this song, so you have to find a new song, you know, and you have to find another one, and then you gotta like, you don't gotta like the playlist and you gotta mess with it. But Twitch is great for that because you can just throw on, you know, I throw on like Fishy or Ashy or Ominous streams or whatever in the evening, and then I'm just chilling, I'm just vibing, just listening to them, you know, being bad at games or whatever they're doing that day. I don't know, man. And then and it's great. It's awesome. I get work done. Same, yeah. No, I'm not. I was gonna say Samwise Gamgee Blaze. I said an artist. All right, how do we feel about our first Ghost Council Priestly dude? And does he need feet, yes or no? Do we like the feeted version more so? Or do you prefer the fact that he's just like sort of floating? You like the levitation? More important question to these guys, head twist to look at the camera. They do. Yeah, Dasher, how's the theme going? Do you have the theme anywhere for the Alabaster Consortium that I can listen to? I need to be inspired. If ghost, no feat, but we want if ghost, Sonya, to be a question that you don't necessarily super know the answer to. We want if ghost to be the it's why we're going, Sonya, with a small slit. The mystery of a small slit in like the fabric for where you can look out from versus the Nazgul style. Nazgul. Right? This doesn't work as well because it although it's mysterious, it removes the mystery of if it's a ghost or not, right? And we want that to be like maybe mystery, maybe ghost, maybe terrifying creature, maybe just floating dude, you know? How much damage is an artist when it comes to potatoes? All right, okay, dude. Unless you mean the 5-second clip from a year ago, that's exactly what I mean. That 5-second clip. If ghost question, then you need feet, but smoky trail would be super poggers. But like, here's the thing. Ghost question, but also could just be floating. Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. If feetsies are required, or for the robe to be touching the ground, like we had this design here, a robe that was like, fuck it, let's just do 2 versions. So when we have a small question we want to ask, like, do we fold do we keep the sleeves open? Do we fold the sleeves? Do we have short folded sleeves? You know, do we have feetsies? Do we have open or closed? What does the inside look like? Let's talk about the Archon. These are all images we want to keep smaller, but when we have a concept that is so like important, like basically the design fully as it is, but with or without feetsies, or with or without giant like halo ring thingy, like, I don't know, Orthodox Byzantine halo, then we want to do it full sized. So let's do multiple concepts. We'll figure out what we like better. If we like with or without feetsies. I don't want to do feetsies. Like, I don't want to do little feetsies hanging, you know, with little toes. All right, we're not doing grippers. All right, there's no grips, no grippies. But we want to imply connection to the ground. Because still maybe ghosts. Even if feet on ground. Especially if when they move, they just sort of glide. With this kind of like slug trail of robe behind them. You know? Mystery than 1 foot? Tentacle feet? Alright, we're getting a little deep on the feet of these guys. But this is what we do on concept art days, alright? This is what I like about it. We need to go deeper. We need more mystery. What if we have a little space here, but here we have just a little eyeball just looking out. Just like, hey man, what's up? You know? Maybe that's where they look out from. Maybe it's a small creature this big piloting a giant ghost consortium thingy. Also, these things need to be like taller. Like, what I want them to be is I want them to be as if a regular person was like, beyond the weird head shape stuff we have going on, if a regular person was in here, I want this to be like, you know, like 7.5 feet tall or whatever, you know. And we're using American measurements because that's the only measurement that matters. I don't even know how tall I am in centimeters, and what the fuck is a kilometer. So we need to use feet and inches. Maybe ballet feet? That's creepy. Send 5-second clip on Discord DMs. All right. What's our official, let's see. Here's our official theme for the Alabaster Consortium. All right, guys. Here's the official theme of the Alabaster Consortium, written and composed by Dashto. All right, well, you know, it was a great 15 seconds, Dashto. Right now, that's all we got. So, you know, we'll just put that on loop. We'll put that 15-second loop on, and we'll just leave it while we're drawing. Everyone, here's how we'll know. We'll like do a check. What we'll do is we'll look at each design. All right, what feels creepier? All right, between slit and no slit. So we've got slit. All right, no slit. I don't know, guys. That's, you know, look, that's how we're gonna define. We're just gonna, every piece we finish, we're just gonna play that 15-second clip of music over it and just see what happens. Slit was creepier, like a good dress. All right, fishy nose. See, Halo vibes. Is that Halo? I didn't get Halo from that. I got fucking Orthodox Eastern Church Gregorian monks from that. Slit, but let the nose peek out. You want a nose? You want a sniffer? Really? That's what you want? You want sniffer? As if Fishy was streaming with the weird feet things? Wait, is Sniffa enabled? Hold on. Sniffa. Sniff. Hold on. Sniff? Why isn't Sniffa enabled? Fine, I'll do it myself. Emotes. Popular. Sniffa. Oh, maybe it is. Channel. There we go. Now Sniffa's enabled. Alright, cool. Fishy, do me a favor and enable Sniffa so the next time your feetsies out on stream. What is a Pepe version of Sniffa? Thankfully, I don't think there is one. Thank fucking God, I don't think there is a Sniffa. Okay. So we have the two examples here now of slidey boys and floaty boys. And just because I'm gonna beat Blaze to this, because I know that's fucking coming, I am not putting him in Crocs. Okay? I'm not having little fucking... Alright? Little Crocs sticking out from it. Okay, the Ghost Consortium of the Alabaster Church does not officially wear Crocs. This is not going to happen. I don't care, even if they're the McDonald's Crocs, even if they have the back, like, little fucking lever thing down over their heel. Okay, so what do we like better, actually? We have their floaty boy, and we have our non-floaty boy. I think I lug non-floaty boy because I think that this still poses the question of maybe Ghost. But this is, like, more obviously probably Ghost. So I actually like this more, and I didn't think I would. And this is why we do full-size concept pieces, is so we have our maybe Ghosts. You know? You like the floaty boy better? So originally the Consortium were supposed to be all floaty boys, but they are much more obviously Ghosts. What if we had sort of two different classes? We have obvious Ghosts and maybe Ghosts. Or is it better if the whole church is a question of maybe Ghost? Floaty Boy is too obviously Ghost. Crocs on Adventures, impractical. Gabby, you're absolutely right. That's the truest thing you've said in chat. Crocs in general, impractical. They got comfy shoes and they go shuffling around like little weirdos. Yeah, that's fair. They're wearing Crocs fully hidden underneath. It's okay, Blaze. No, we're not. They're not Crocs, okay? Why not make the robe/leg part twice as long? So we could elongate them. Yeah, I mean we could. You're right, because this robe section is robed based off of the floaty boy. but you're right. I do think that this could be longer. And that, I think, is more eerie. Right? Because otherwise, we didn't really show any sort of, like, connection with our plane, which is important in concept art. You need to have, like, connection with your plane. So you can illustrate the height of something. So now we have Floaty Boy versus Roby Boy. Be more likely to become intrigued in them if unsure of ghost status. There you go. There you go. Unsure of ghost. Also, Dashto, we decided that their Archon, the one of the like Archons that's like closer to the head of the church, would wear Venetian style hexadecimal masks from Reboot. I know as a Canadian you watched Reboot too. Don't pretend you didn't. Like Long Boy with less stuff being dragged. I wonder if like barely touching would be... Then again, if they grant sky shards to those in need, Floaty makes them more trustworthy. That's true, actually. Does the question of ghost really need answering when they are sky shard bankers, more or less? What about the dragon chains? I don't know yet how to incorporate the chains, because the chains were like too floaty for me. Elish Norn? Absolutely. Elish Norn, actually the Phyrexian Praetors. Phyrexian Praetors. So if you guys were here earlier in the stream, we were talking about the light being used as in Diablo as a very good way of sort of like making light evil or light bad, because light's usually always good, but the Phyrexian Praetors do a similar thing. This isn't like golden, beautiful, pretty light. This is like kind of acidic, like light. I think you can make light evil or diabolical or whatever when the light is so bright and so intense that it removes identity from whatever it removes information for whatever it's touching. Then light bad. Light not good at that point. We don't like light. How much is an Elish Norn? I kind of want an Elish Norn. I want like an original new Phyrexia Elish Norn. I want to buy one. Elish Norn, Elish Norn, Elish Norn. No, wrong one. Foil. What's non-foil? $21 out of stock? Fuck this shit. Secret Lair drop foil. No, I want the original. This is what I want. I want the original Grand Cenobite from New Phyrexia. I don't want any of these non-NPH Elish Norns. God damn it. Why are Magic cards so expensive? I just want a cool collection of cool cards. But I can't have it because it's expensive. Fucking wizards. Anyway, I think all the Praetors do that really well. Jin Gitaxis is a really good job of that, but obviously like emphasizing the creepiness of their color. Sheldred's a little bit obvious, but I think that's fine. You know, what's the green Praetor? Vorinclex or whatever his name is? Vorinclex. Oh, it's literally Vorinclex. I thought I was making up a word. I thought I was so funny making up a dumb sounding word because I thought it was like Vor something. It's literally Vorinclex. Okay. All right. I'm smarter, but not as fun. I'm smarter than I thought I was, but not as funny as I thought I was. And then what's this one? I don't remember the... Oh, Urabrask. That's right. Man. What a time. Oh, man. I started working at the game store when New Phyrexia was, like, in. I cracked and ripped so many New Phyrexia packs. I had a competitive Hero of Bladehold red-white deck that I played in Friday Night Magics. God, that was a good time to be a Magic player. Phyrexia Innistrad was... And Phyrexia... Or then Innistrad Ravnica. Man, that was a sick time to play Magic. So basically the light coming from Ella's monitor behind you. The problem is somebody at some point in time, and I don't know who, told Dashto that he was funny. And so now Dashto thinks he's funny. And it's been just a pain in the ass ever since, you know? Yo, thank you, Victorious Red, for the follow. Thank you, dude. Welcome. Good to have you. Personally, more scared of a righteous angel than I am of a dark temple dude. Well, also, I mean, that's fine. There's lots of personal, you know, we're talking about not a personal like comfort or discomfort. We're talking about like a anthropological comfort or discomfort, you know, which is why we're talking about these like old tropes to be as relevant to as many or as wide of an audience as possible, you know. And if we can create like the most relevant and like we're trying to activate like these old sort of nodes in our brain. And I think that's how all great concept and art and writing is made. So I don't know. I'm kind of, well, I believe that, and I'm betting my like career on it basically. Okay, so we have our dark priest dudes. We need to create more different variations. We need to find a symbol for the church. A symbol for the church that's kind of like vaguely like Judeo, but kind of, you know, like I wonder if almost if the circle is in a way a really good reference, because our astral sages, right? Our astral sages have, and our astral knights have these different like sage circles. I wonder if the 6-pointed mandala or like an 8-pointed or 10-pointed mandala would be a useful, like I wonder if it's kind of like we use like almost a sun imagery for the dudes. Your art is insane. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Thank you, Red. That's very kind of you to say. Normally, Red, what I usually do is I'm usually working on like characters. So this is like very, very rough sketches. Like this is a sketch that we're doing right now. Where is it? Where's Charlotte? Where's Charlotte? This is a sketch that I'm doing. This is more like finished work for me. You know, this is like a work in progress, but this is a little bit more finished. Today we're just doing some very quick concepts for villains in our campaign right now. So Dash was fucking hilarious. Bizzo, go to bed. Dash was hilarious when he wants to be. No, he's not. I was at my insurance agent's office. He's watching your stream. I had to get in on this. Wait, really? Oh shit, dude. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Red. I'm honored. Seriously, I really am. Didn't know Blaze was an insurance agent. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Seriously, it means a lot to me. So, okay. So what else? I mean, what are other good examples in media that people have of like good kind of like religious sort of almost gothic-y? Because like I feel like there's a lot of good stuff in like 40k. The Elish Norn example was great, especially Elish Norn having that kind of obscured feature. Like man, the skeletal part is so good, but I feel like if we go too skeletal, we remove too much mystery. And I almost want the mystery to kind of feel eldritch in nature. I remember what he said his Twitch name was, but I don't think it was Blaze. No, I think I know who you're talking about, Red. I know one person that watches my stream and works in insurance and watches it at work. So yeah, I think I know who you're talking about, but still, I appreciate you stopping by. I think it'd be kind of interesting if the holy symbol has actually shone light too, so their head covering makes sense that way too. Yeah, like I wonder if there's like if you imagine Ivalon, you go to their cathedral and you imagine like gold and white stained glass windows inside dark kind of like obsidian halls where the light is just so bright that you can't really make out any definition of what is in the stained glass, nor can you look directly into it. So the hood would make more sense, because the hood like covers you from the light and the elements and protects you, but it also sort of like what does the hood symbolize in a mythological anthropological sense? The hood is like mystery. The hood is protection. But like having the hood be sort of impractically like shaped or whatever, or impractically closed off, takes it to be more like a veil, and the veil is more sort of like a eeriness to it. The veil has an obscuring kind of, oh man, there's like, dude, I'm not smart enough for this. I'm not smart enough to try and make my own art. Elden Ring and Bloodborne also do a pretty good job of that general vibe. Elden Ring, that's a good point actually. Yeah, Elden Ring has a lot of locations that invoke that sense of like what is the, okay, there's a boss in Elden Ring that's like really bright and has like a lot of light, and it's like in a cathedral or something. Fuck, or maybe it's Dark Souls. Shit. I'm I'm forgetting which one it is. But there's a boss that sort of has the same kind that uses light in a similar way. I don't remember which one it was or what the name is because I don't know shit about these games. Here we have volleyball. I'm missing the lore dump. Have to watch the VOD later. Don't worry, Dashto. You're not missing much. Enjoy volleyball at work. Being closed off and distancing yourself from others is another hood thing. Hiding one's face. Yeah, the obfuscation is like the veil. The hood becoming the veil is like a big thing. Summoned Ashley. I said the words Elden Ring and Dark Souls, and Ashley got summoned. What's up? Godfrey of the Golden Lord or Ornstein and no. Oh, is it the Ornstein? And Smahug. No, it's not them. Like I know who you're talking about with Ornstein and the little guy or whatever. But no, there's a fight that I'm thinking of that I remember seeing people playing, and like this definitely has that kind of like churchy vibe. Obviously, I mean it's in a fucking church or whatever, or a building that has that kind of gothic sort of vibe. But no, it was the light was like really. Maybe it is these guys that I was watching at streamer play, but their light is like very golden and bright. And I'm thinking about like it was all acidic light. Like it kind of reminds me of, dude, this is Kekakotaki. I know it. I know this art. I can recognize the style. This is a Kekakotaki piece, 100%. Godfrey the Golden. No, man, who is it? All I remember is they were in a church and they had a spear and they like lunge at you or whatever. And there's just like a lot of bright light that kind of like almost makes it hard to look directly at. Yeah. No, it wasn't this. It was a white acidic light, sort of like Anarius. Like it reminded me more of Anarius and of this sort of like light than it did. Like this is the kind of vibe that I remember. Like dark cathedral, glowing mofo, but maybe I'm just inventing something that didn't exist in the game. But it was this kind of effect of using light not as like a peaceful guiding like safe form, but using light as like a terrible evil kind of thing happening in the background. Moon Lady, call his office. He said Steve, I think. I don't know, confused, not his real name, I guess Switch name, who knows. Yeah, it's Steve. So yeah. By removing yourself from them, you are closer to the spiritual world. So I wonder if that's like part of it too in their belief. Is that by concealing oneself, that's sort of, I could be wrong here, Ivlon, but I think that's sort of an idea of the concept of cloistering one's like, or the religious like cloistering of an order. Oh God. What's up, Faye? What's going on, bro? Faye, I've been watching almost every single one of your Baldur's Gate streams that I can catch, and I'm enjoying it thoroughly. Thank you for playing the game for me, so I don't have to play it myself. I can just watch you do it and vicariously imagine what it'd be like to play a video game. So I don't know. You've been killing it, bro. I'm really proud of you. Yeah, yes, really. What are you talking about? You're thinking of Heaven's Ward. I'm not thinking of Shadowbringers. Nameless King. He's in church or anything though, and isn't super bright. Nameless. Maybe it's the location I'm thinking of. What is the world? It's a place, it's a location in Dark Souls. We should play together. That'd be fucking wicked. I absolutely would. Faye, I would love to play Baldur's Gate with somebody as chaotic as you in that game. It would be way better than my playthrough. What is the location in Dark Souls? All right, I need somebody. It's competition time. Somebody gets to prove how much of a loser neckbeard Dark Souls know-it-all they are. What is the location in Dark Souls in the world that is like a golden, like fancy city or whatever, you know, but it's all an illusion, right? It's an illusion created by some chick or whatever. That location. Anor Londo. All right. Anor Londo. Is this it? This is 100% it. Holy shit. Why did I question Ashy? Why did I even think that asking the question was even a reasonable use of my time, and I couldn't just say not, hey chat, What is this? That I should just say, hey Ashy, what the fuck am I thinking of? And just drop the a 2-word description, Illusion City, and then Ashy knows exactly what it is. What the fuck? Okay, all right. Anne Orlando. So this is a great use of that too, is the light being this like kind of really oppressive thing. Now they do use, and I was saying that an important part of the light of like Inarius was using the white light instead of golden light, but this, I think this would be more effective if it was white light and golden light, but maybe it wouldn't have the same kind of twilight feel that they were going for. I don't know. I'm not an artist on the team. You've got Gwendolyn, you've got Priscilla, you've got Ornstein and Smile. Yeah, okay, yeah. I think Gwendolyn was maybe it was Gwendolyn. Dark Souls Gwendolyn. Not Gwendolyn True Form. Oh god, this is so good. This is so the part of the vibe we're looking for. That faceless veiled, we're talking about tons. I mean, okay, less tentacles. All right, we don't need as many tentacles. But this is so close to sort of our vibe we're going for. Are we just trying to make the Dark Souls villains now? Or whatever? I'm gonna add for 3 minutes. Oh, fuck. Hold on. Let me save Faye. We gotta save her. Alright, there we go. Okay. Alright, I'm sorry about Add Hell, Faye. I'm sorry about that. That's not my doing. Clear tab and all I see is Evan gobbling in the background. Listen. I got a jar. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Let me save Ashy as well. We gotta save Ashy too. I take my entire budget that I get from ads every month and I put it towards gifted subs for people that I'm trying to talk to that get stuck in ad hell. So yeah, sorry about that. So I apologize for ad hell. You guys both know that I can't not run any less ads or else I get pre-rolls. So I apologize. Talk about the Ring City when you touch the woman and all falls away. Yes, that one, right? It's from the DLC. Wait, it's from the DLC. It's not from the core game. Wait, actually, I heard Baldur's Gate. Are we playing Baldur's Gate today? I don't know, man. I might go back to playing it on stream. Like, I've been thinking about this a lot recently. I wanted to play Baldur's Gate every Friday, but then we decided to make Fridays our request day again. But I was considering adding another day, like adding a 5th stream day, and I was considering doing a games day because like I really miss playing games on stream and I haven't done that in a long time. And Baldur's Gate's a lot of fun to watch on stream and to play on stream. I enjoyed the couple weeks that I played Baldur's Gate on stream. But I was thinking about it. I was also thinking about playing through like Elden Ring on stream for the first time. You know, it supposedly is going to go on sale at some point in time. So I was considering adding, I was saying that I wanted to add in December a 5th stream day. And I think it's going to be a games day. And I just don't know if we're going to play Baldur's Gate or Elden Ring first. But one of the two is going to happen. Please, I love clicking the ads. All right, well, I'm sorry for ad hell. I know very little about this, but ask Colin. He was like, oh, that thing from the DLC. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair. So I feel too, Evan, right there with you about what, missing games or what? Because your stream's been awesome, Faye. Like really. I mean, I know I'm never really active in chat except for an occasional KEKW, but I really have been loving your streams recently. So you probably, I mean, like sometimes streamers don't hear about like the good things they're doing. They just like sort of try and see if it's working out or whatever. But it's really been a lot of fun. So don't ban me, but I haven't even purchased Baldur's Gate yet. That's fine, Steve. Baldur's Gate is a game for people who are afraid to be weebs. So that's all. But this is sick. Whoever this character is, Gwendolyn. This is fucking dope. What was the other one? So there was Ornstein and Smog the Dragon. There was Gwendolyn, and what was the other one that Ashley mentioned? Priscilla or whatever? Slave Knight Gale, stage 2 and stage 3. What was the other one, Ashley? What's the other one that's from the city? This might have a similar vibe that we're looking for. There's an Elden Ring co-op mode. We can both ride horses together. Really? Have you played Elden Ring through, Faye? Like, should I play it co-op or should I go in like alone? What's the best like playthrough, you think? Slave Knight Gale, crossbred Priscilla. What the hold on, let me Dark Souls Priscilla. Oh. I mean, she's just a VTuber. That's not. I was looking for like a pseudo biblical religious looking like gothic boss from Elden Ring. I didn't realize she was just a fucking VTuber with cool horns or whatever. Okay, what's the one I want? Gale. Dark Souls Gale. But also I'm just thinking of Gale now from oh, look at him. Look, wait, who's this fatty? Why Slave Knight Gale is one of the series' best bosses? Is this does Fatty turn into a Giga Chad? Is this me? Is this my training arc? I was stage 1 Gale and I'm trying to become stage 2 Gale? Holy shit. Slave Knight Gale transition. Slave Knight Gale transition. The first is a meme that looks like name Slave Knight Gale, jumps around, hits with sword. Everything from phase 1 plus walking straight legs, skulls, lightning, cape attack. What the fucking cape attacks? What do you mean the cape attacks? All right, but this is too, okay. So the reason why this doesn't work for our consortium is because it's too grotesque. We're trying to make our players feel like it's eerie and creepy and like, you know what this kind of reminds me of? Who are the fucking dudes from Dune? From the Dune priests? No, from the new one, the new. Oh. This one. Look at it. Like, asks the question, maybe ghost. And it even has the dumb slit. This looks like a fucking character from Avatar. But I like this one. Maybe we'll try dumb head shape like that. We'll try and merge Elish Norn. Because I do like this sort of like vaguely like crusadery ones that we sort of like almost as if they're, so it'd almost be interesting if there was a implication that they were wearing an armor under it. Philinor, I think, is the one that illusion scene you were talking about. It could be wrong. Is it? Okay, hold on. Dark Souls Filion? No, not Filion. Philinor. Oh yeah. She's the one from the like Illusion City or whatever, right? Like you find her and she's all like sad over her like geode or whatever. Like if you entered into an AI art bot, woman sad over geode, you would get this art. I wonder if it would be useful almost to have a character like this somewhere within the Consortium. That's a contrast between like a very human looking figure and then the obfuscation of whether or not they are humans or ghosts. The Bene Gesserit? Yes, the sisters as well. I wonder if there's any concept art. Dune Bene Gesserit art. They have weird hats too, right? Oh, look at it. Look at how dumb the hat is. Look at how dumb the hats are. It's like they're all hexadecimal from Reboot. Yeah, dumb hats are important, okay? Once you obfuscate the face and you disrupt the silhouette of the head, that's when we have something truly eerie. And we're continuing to sort of play with the idea of ghost or not ghost. We need to do, by the way, before we can figure out the Consortium, we spent 3 hours talking about this, but we need to do like 15 more of these for concept art before we have an actual like finished product for what our average Consortium priest or whatever I don't know what word we should use for them, because I don't know if necessarily like the word priest. I want like something that sounds sort of like almost metaphorical, like the same, that invokes the same idea as shepherd, right? For the flock, kind of that sort of thing. You know, finding his last stage where he's literally Arnorius. Let me find it. Yeah, send it. There's something bad and wrong, but it isn't anything overt that you can't pick out. Exactly. Is there an ArtStation link to the best one, people that want to see your portfolio, or do you have more elsewhere? No, my ArtStation was something that I was going to develop, or actually like properly re-upload and like change everything out for this month for a portfolio, Steve, but it just didn't happen. I just fell behind. So it's literally on my to-do list within the next like week or so. Like I wanted to do it before the end of the month, but it'll probably be in the first week or so. So ArtStation's still the best one, but yeah. Maybe the head shapes could indicate rank within the organization. That's interesting. Actually, yeah. It's also giving Nazgul. So actually, I don't know how you feel about this, Faye, but the reason I said that I didn't want because I called these the Nazgul style, because we can have our like our overtly open like hoods where you see nothing and it's obscured, or you can put like little like eyes or some shit in there, like a little Jawa or whatever, you know. And the reason why I don't want that is because I feel like it doesn't ask the question, is ghost maybe? When you can see something in it and or nothing in there, you just see the abyssal void. That's creepy as shit. But there's something about the slit or whatever, or the very small like covered veiled face that asks the question, is ghost? Because I find that there's something, obviously it's unsettling when you see the Nazgul and you're like, oh my god, it's just this open hood with nothing in it, right? But it doesn't, it resolves it in a way, right? It kind of resolves the question, and I find the question to be a very important part of these. Like, what the fuck is that? Like oh, it's not just like, oh, it's a ghost, but what the fuck is it? But like, no, literally, what the fuck is it, you know? What do you call them, like tenders? Tender is a great fucking word. Tender is a great fucking word for them, as is tending to someone's needs or whatever, because they're kind of bankers, they're kind of like priests. They basically, if an island is falling down the Shattered Sea, they're the ones that come in and say like, we will give you the shards you need to keep your island floating in exchange for a tithe that we're going to come collect once in a while, you know. And the tithe is in the form of gold that they can't afford, sky shards they obviously can't afford, or souls. So it's like on an island that is run by or had to go to this organization to like be saved or whatever, they basically all are sacrificing people every like month or so. The tenders would come back. We could call them collectors, like maybe a word that sort of evokes tender or collector, or we could use both of those. We could have both tenders and collectors. So the collectors will show up once in a while and the tenders stay there. You know, so the tenders are always there and kind of creepy and floating around your village and doing whatever. And the collectors are like, they show up in their like ghost ship every once in a while and like demand like a tithe or whatever. Look in the face and see space with stars and nebulas. That I don't want to. So space is a very important theme within the astral sages and the astral knights, like the sages and knights. And I don't want to invoke space in the Consortium. This is an astral knight, and an astral sage is like, looks like this. These are both my wife's D&D characters, by the way. So you have like stuff like star patterns and like star fields and in her clothing, and like certain sages have it in the shadows of their hair and shit like that. So I don't want to invoke space with these ones. With the Ghost Consortium, I want to invoke nothingness more so. But I don't know. I've done the naming thing once or twice before. Yeah, true. Like, actually. I think your player is an easy one sometimes, so they leave other shit alone. Actually, though. Like, actually. What about Colliger? What the fuck is that? Is this a French word? Hold on. How to pronounce colliger in Latin?
Colligere.
Ah, yes, the colligere. Ah, yes. Ah, perfect. What's the actual... Oh, to gather. It comes from the verb to gather. Ooh. I like that, actually. That's good. There's something about that. But can we use a bullshit word? Or do we need to have something that you can grab onto? For invoking, if I were DMing these guys and I had to describe them to my party, what words would you use? The author give me help to describe them to my players. So I would say that if I was describing the Consortium to my players, I would say that they're obviously haunting and they seem slightly otherworldly. They move very strangely and almost like a specter across the land. There's a strange mist that seems to follow them and a chill that surrounds them. They are, by every definition, sort of a somber, quiet religious order. They feel like kind of like they walk in like an intentional procession, and it feels like being in their presence is being at a funeral of some variety. I mean, we have our theme. Wait, where's our theme? Where's our Dashto theme? Hold up. We have a theme for this. Why tell you, Ashy, when I can just play Dashto's theme for you? I mean, I mean, it's 15 seconds, but it's a pretty good 15 seconds, I think. You know, it's a decent 15, as far as I'm concerned. So, no, what I want for the players in the Consortium is I want it to be very mysterious and eerie, and I want it to feel like that sort of dark, gothic, Byzantine kind of feel, which is why I like the idea of the flat halos. Because like when Byzantine art was creating like the icons, it was literally before perspective was invented. Like hold on, what's the date? I should know this. Who was the artist that invented perspective? I forget. Filippo, what was it? No, was this the painter? I think it was this guy. I'm pretty sure it was this guy, but I wouldn't have thought that he was an architect. I thought he was a painter, so I could be wrong. Commonly known as Filippo Brunelleschi, also nicknamed Pippo. Italian architect, designer, goldsmith, and sculptor. No, I thought it was a painter that invented painting perspective, but it should have been around the same time. So like perspective wasn't even invented in like the Byzantine era. So when you look at like Byzantine painting, they have the concept of the halo in this like sort of flat shape. Like this is a great example here. You know, anytime I think that they depicted like the various saints or anyone important, right? They always put the halo. That's interesting, the halo and the cross. I didn't realize. That's interesting. I didn't realize I did that as well. But either way, so I like flat. So if we can sort of like almost flatten the design of like the halo and those like that imagery, then we're really invoking that like old school kind of creepy gothic Byzantine feel, which is what I want. Submit your tithing. They're trying to get it, man. It feels like you'd want to invoke a feeling of staring off a cliff when you feel like chilling breeze cuts you to your core. Yeah, it actually chills you to be in their presence. Like you get that fucking feeling in your chest and in your core. You know, doesn't come from the word. It is the word. Oh, okay. I like that word. That's a great ass word to use for these guys. The deacons who collect the tithes. Deacon def. What is the like? I know what a deacon is, but what is the actual definition of a deacon? Ordained minister, right? So it's just a minister below a priest, right? In Catholicism specifically. What is the Orthodox version of a deacon? Oh, it's a deaconette. Okay, so it's the same word. It's the same word in the Eastern Church too. Ugh. Okay. All right. And part of this, by the way, also, the reason why I'm using sort of Eastern Orthodoxy as sort of some of the basis for this stuff is because there are two paladin orders that are very Eastern Orthodox in their inspiration, and I want them to feel analogous, aligned, similar to the Consortium, in the same way that then you'd make you unsettled to go to them, but they're obviously less evil. Right? I love the chicken tendy voice. No, stop. They're not chicken tendies. What if he was called Peepo, the original? No, Pepe. Close. Deacons just below priest because there's a lot of like hierarchy. They fucking love hierarchy over there in the church, man. They love that shit, bro. They're like, dude, the church and nothing against the church, man, but they love fucking hierarchy and ranks and shit like an off-brand karate studio in like the middle of your fucking like local strip mall, where you can be like a white belt, black stripe, red dot, second degree, and you can ascend through like 50 fucking ranks or whatever just to achieve your purple belt. They fucking love that shit, man. And you know what? I think it's great. I think it's great. It's like ranking up in a video game. Just using the word vitae would be kind of dope too. As someone who was raised Catholic, yes, yeah. I wasn't. So here's the thing. Part of my inspiration with using the Orthodox Church is not because I was raised in an Orthodox family or whatever, you know. But within the Ukrainian people don't understand this about Eastern European cultures. Eastern European culture, so Ukrainian culture is so connected to the church and to Orthodox like culture, whatever, that a lot of traditions when you think about people who think about like Ukrainian food will automatically think of like, you know, pierogies or perohe, vereniki, piroshki, that dumplings with potato and cheese in them when you put sour cream and shit on them, right? They'll think about like porridge, they'll think about like pickled fish, they'll think about, most importantly, the breads, the paska and the babka breads and stuff like that around holidays like Thanksgiving and around like Christmas and shit like that. And that comes from the church. So like we didn't it's not like we made like the Pascha or whatever around Easter. Like my grandma didn't bake a fucking Pascha because we had to do some like religious shit for it. It was just what you did and when you're in the culture. So I want to sort of like, I'm trying to invoke some of like with certain areas in the Shattered Sea, I'm trying to invoke a subtle Eastern European feel to kind of like put my own stamp on it a little bit. You know, also because I think those cultures are really beautiful. You know, I mean, even like people love The Witcher, but they don't realize how much of Eastern European mythology and culture comes out in The Witcher. And I think it's awesome. And I want to invoke some of that darkness to it. You know, do you know that if you're baptized in the Greek Orthodox Church, Catholic churches will recognize that, but it does not go the other way? I actually did know that. I think it's hilarious. But didn't the Pope and the Patriarch meet and like high five and dap it up or something, and now they're cool? I'm pretty sure there's a clip of the Pope and the Patriarch like dapping it up or whatever, doing their fucking secret handshake or whatever, and now they're cool with that or whatever. Babka fucked me up with that. Could go for a good babka. I suppose my Protestant upbringing is showing. The deacons in my church collecting offerings and were in charge of the finances of the church. They perform the service work to the less fortunate. That'd be an interesting word to use for them than deacons instead of collectors. Witcher is so Slavic. The Witcher is very Slavic, and I love it. The only thing like would make The Witcher more Slavic is if Geralt was wearing Adidas and like squatting, you know, in a field listening to Hard Boss. Like that would be peak Slavic Witcher, and I'd be fine with it. I'm no longer Catholic being. Yeah, I don't know. I remember hearing some news about it. I think Pope news is funny, so I listen to it on Twitter when it comes up. All right. We have our first concept here, though. I think we're going to go with our non-floaty boy version. I still don't know. We're going to obviously, like, no concept here that we came up with today is a wasted concept. And this is something that kind of, like, messes people up sometimes when I'm, like, drawing on stream. Not everything I do, it makes it into canon, makes it into the world, obviously. And not everything that I do, that doesn't end in the one thing that I like the most, one idea, is useless. So I think we're gonna keep going on concept. I don't know if we're gonna do it tomorrow. We might actually try and finish the Astral Sage tomorrow. But yeah, this week's gonna be a little bit weird because I've got to do something at the end of the week that I might miss Friday for, which means that I might do requests on Thursday then. But I think I have to go do some shit, so we're gonna end up about a half hour early today. And that's gonna be it, man. That's a good stopping place, I think, where we got our first concept done. And I might try and work on some tonight. I don't know if I have some free time, but he gives from Old English daikon, which Violacity from Greek, daikon, a servant. Interesting. So it's more of a term, like that makes it more of a reference within the church as opposed to than within the people, as opposed to like father, shepherd, bishop, those kind of things. What about daikon? All right, well, now of course we always find a way to weave it up. Anyway, cool, man. So thanks for the ideas today, guys. That was fun. I hope you guys enjoy concept art streams, where when we go deep into the concept art stuff, it's not like, oh, we're gonna create a piece of art and just make it and it's cool and pretty. But we go so deep into the concept art that we get lost in terminology for an hour. But either way, I always enjoy these days. So hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I'll be live tomorrow at the same time at 10 a.m. I believe. Either you have chicken tenders or daikon have it. Yeah, dude. Fucking D&D players, Faye. All right, whatever. So, I will catch you all tomorrow. I'll see you later. And what's happening soon? Okay, so yeah, so reminders. Might not be live on Friday, so I might do requests on Thursday. New stream day is coming soon. It'll probably be Mondays. I'll probably do relaxing Monday streams for a couple of hours in the morning as well, or maybe I'll do it in the evening. I don't know. But I don't want to do a fifth day of just pure art. The collectible cards are on their way and actually should be ready sometime mid-December, and I'm very excited for that dumb project. So if you guys are also excited for that dumb project, don't worry about it. And I don't know, man, we've been talking about a lot of cool things lately, a lot of potential projects to end the year off with. So I'm really excited. I've been kind of like off and sick and whatever for the last little while, and I feel like I'm kind of returning a little bit, so I'm happy about that. But either way, I'll catch you guys later. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you on Thursday for Season of Mastery, Thorkin, and Warcraft Andes. But until then, farewell.